Welcome to the Smark Foundation Podcast. I'm Aaron. This is Adam.
Oh, hi, Marks. Yeah, you thought I'd forget. No. Like I said last week, that's a thing now. Get used to it.
And we are here to give you our WWE and AEW analysis for the past week. A little bit of house cleaning in today's intro. So a lot of you who listen to us regularly might have noticed that lately we've only been on YouTube and our last few episodes haven't been uploaded to our RSS or Spotify or anything like that. Just to truncate it as much as possible without getting too into detail. We had some issues with RSS and they were non-compliant with the solution to these issues. So what we did was we went out and found us a new distributor. That new distributor was so compliant with all of their stuff that we are already completely set up on said new distributor. We are completely set up on all of our old distributions. So if you'd like to listen to us through Spotify or anything like that, we'll be right back on the regular platform tomorrow, including our back episodes. We'll have those uploaded first thing. While I'm editing this episode, I will be uploading those episodes. So we will have our entire backlog that did not go onto our distribution done in the morning. However, on top of that, they've also done really cool by us and just like made a lot of things easier in our lives. So going to give a big shout out right now to Podbean, who have given us a new life kind of, because they've helped us fix our issues with distribution. They have ported everything over to their site. So you can now check us out at podbean.com/podcast/Smark Foundation Podcast. All of our back episodes are there. All of our new episodes will be there going forward. They will also be distributing directly to Spotify and all of our normal platforms. And big time bonus, they got us on Apple Podcasts. So we are also now on Apple. Finally.
Oh, I'm so happy about that. I don't even know what the hang up with RSS was on Apple, but like I'm just over the moon because that's a huge way to reach out to people. Tons of people use Apple Podcasts to get their stuff in, and I mean it was kind of like the last piece of the puzzle there for us. We've been having issues with it ever since the first episode. So thank you Podbean for all this. And for getting on it so quick too. Like this whole thing literally took place in like the span of 48 hours ish. Like, I mean, the issues were there already, but like the discovery of what the issues were from that point to them uploading all of our stuff and being our new distributor took place remarkably quickly. That turnarounds was great.
From RSS refusing to fix it to me searching out a new distributor to them fixing everything, porting us over, and then getting us subsequently on Apple Podcasts. That entire run was probably about 43 hours.
Yeah. Like it was, they couldn't have been better about things.
No, they couldn't have.
No, we're very, very happy already. And this was figured out 2 days ago. So we're already this happy in this short amount of time. Yeah. So thank you, Podbean.
They've also made it possible for us to do things like live stream and travel. So if in the future we decide to go to a wrestling event, or if we decide to watch a pay-per-view and have a watch along with you guys, we have the ability to do so. And that might be part of our plans in the future. It's so new to us that we haven't even discussed like how we're going to implement this technology in the future, but we like have the ability to do so many new things. So I really can't thank them enough for making this process easy on me. As the guy who handles most of the tech around here, they made this so easy that I basically just had to take my wife out to dinner and come home and watch Collision. That's all I had to do. Like I didn't have to do anything. I gave them my RSS feed link and they fixed it.
That's a good night right there.
I basically just had to type in links. And they ported everything over for me. It was awesome. And I know this sounds like an ad read, guys. It isn't. I promise this is not an ad read. I am not advertising Podbean.
No, we'll make a new one of those.
They're hella
later.
Not paying me for this. In fact, I hella paid them a bunch of money yesterday. Just, for my subscription fees and stuff. I pay up a year in advance. So I say a bunch of money. It really wasn't that much. I'm not even going to talk about the price because like I said, I'm not advertising for them. I'm really just super thankful that they helped us alleviate this problem that we've had where we haven't been on our normal platforms for the last couple of weeks, and it's really been bugging me. I mean, there's a downside. Our
It's been bugging our listeners too.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a bit of a downside. We got to reset our analytics, but I'm not really worried about that. They were doing fantastic, I'm sure. So they're gonna come in hot and then get better. So I'm
Yeah.
cool with it. But yeah, they're handling everything for us. It's super cool. We both are very thankful to the people at Podbean for making this so incredibly easy on us and so helpful to us and getting us back up and running to the capacity that we want to be at and the quality that we want to be at, as opposed to where we were before. So
Yeah.
thanks for that, guys. Thanks for all the help. With that said,
If you're wondering where else you can find the Smark Foundation podcast, you can stream our show on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and nearly anywhere else you normally stream your podcasts from, including our home at smarkfoundationpodcast.podbean.com. We're also on YouTube, featuring not only full episodes of our show, but individual segments from each episode for easier content digestion. For any of those outlets, just type Smark Foundation Podcast into the search bar to find us. If you'd like to interact with us directly, we're very active on our new social media home, Blue Sky. You can contact the show at smarkfndnpodcast.bsky.social for general pro wrestling or podcast comments. And if you want to get to know us a little bit more on a personal level, Aaron's personal account is at aaronsmark.bsky.social and Adam's is at adamsmarkfndnpodcast.bsky.social. If you'd like to further support our show, you can visit our shop at smarkfoundationpodcast.printful.me to purchase various merchandise with our show's logo on it. Wear your SFP t-shirt or hoodie around town and spread the word about the show that strives to bring fans together around what's great about pro wrestling today. Brought to you by a couple of everyday elder millennial wrestling fan dads. Now, back to the show.
then we'll get right into
Let's
our
get right
lockup,
into it.
which is our Raw review for the week. Raw on Netflix, as usual, hitting on all cylinders. I had a good time watching it this week. So Jey Uso kicked off the show. He's out there doing his yeet thing. He got the one more time, and they're doing the one more time, and he's standing on like the announce desk, and he's doing the yeet thing, and Gunther shows up. I guess he was disguised as a cameraman or something. I don't know. He had like a black hoodie on and stuff. But he shows up and just starts beating the hell out of Jey. He gets Jey in the, into the ring and beats on him a little bit, and then he goes to kind of leave him laying. And Jey laid out on the ground with his mic is like, hold up, Gunther. Like, do you want to fight about this? We'll fight about this. I choose you. So Jey versus Gunther set for Raw, or set for a World Heavyweight Championship at Mania. So now we know that that's what's going on, and that one of these six guys, if we even have all six yet, I'm not sure, but one of the six guys in the Hell in a Cell are going to be facing Cody. So, and they pretty much said as much on SmackDown later in the week, was that like, Cody Rhodes knows that the Elimination Chamber is his fate. So, Elimination Chamber and Cody Rhodes, and now Jey and Gunther is going to be on the other side of that, which, okay, so it's a done deal. Now Jey has to win.
Yeah, he has,
He has to win.
The storyline demands it. It demands
the fan reaction demands it. Because, and I'm not taking away from him at all. What happened this weekend was amazing, but he gets a Cope reaction every night. It happens every night.
Yeah.
And Cope should get that reaction every night too, people. Maybe that's just my internal bias showing. I love me some Edge. Edge might be the reason that I love John Cena. They had a feud for years. I mean,
I could see that.
I had to watch them for years. I love them both. Okay.
And they never really got old like
No,
Cena and Orton.
like Cena and Orton or Cena and JBL or any of that. Like some of those got really boring and old really fast, but him and Edge were always hot, man. I always enjoyed it.
Yep.
So, anyway, the Gunther attack was the timing on it was, oh man, because like we were just celebrating and suddenly, Gunther attacked Jay. So, move on. We've got Damage Control versus Liv Morgan and Raquel. This was a barn burner tag match, man. It was good. The women are. I don't know where the switch got flipped. I don't know where this happened, but the women are getting more time, and they're getting more time. Like we get more TV time overall for them, and they're getting more in-ring time. This match, 15, 20 minutes for this tag match, something like that on a 2-hour show. Like they gave them a pretty nice chunk.
I mean, and that's in contrast to the tag match from last week. What was it? Last week's SmackDown, you said only got
like 4 or 5 minutes.
Like
yeah.
Yeah. Drastic.
Yeah, drastic. So, it was a really good match. I didn't write down who won. I'm an asshole. And I'm just trying to like think through the match, like who got the pin here.
A lot happened this
It
week.
was it was a lot of match too. Like it was just so good that I was just like, when it was over, it's one of those times when you're just like left, like wondering. You're like, is it over? Shit, it still needs to go. Like we need more minutes on that. But I had a lot already. Like I was just really into it. Io. Okay, Io got the pin. Io got the pin after an over the moon, over the sky or whatever she calls her moonsault. So Io got the pin. Sorry, I just had to remember. Like God, like so much happened this week, and I've watched so much wrestling. Sometimes it's hard to remember who won and who lost. All I remembered really was that this was a barn burner of a match. I was into it. But Io got the pin. Io Sky busted open Liv Morgan, like inch-long gash on her eyebrow that was deep, and she was bleeding all over the place with a knee. She did that flying knee and just cracked her. And Liv, to her credit, just kept going. Like, just had a match about it.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, if it's a serious injury, it's like I'm a big proponent of having them stop the match. But a cut,
it was.
I mean, it depends on how bad it is.
They showed it later, and I bet there's going to be a few stitches in it. There might be a few stitches in it now. Like it was pretty nasty for a little person. Like for a little tiny girl, like a little woman like Liv is. Like she's mini. And that was a pretty big cut to be on somebody's little face like that. Like it was like they showed it later, and she has acting like it was no big deal. But I mean, it was like this nice gash in her eyebrow.
Well, she's from Jersey. I'm sure she's gotten her fair share of scraps.
Okay, yeah, she drinks heavily and punches a lot of bitches in the face. Like,
well, I can't speak for the drink, but I bet
she doesn't do that. But
been taken, that her looks have been taken for granted before because she's tough.
Yeah.
You have to be in this business.
So then, after that barn burner tag team match, we have another women's match, and we have Bayley and Lyra Valkyria going against each other for an Elimination Chamber qualifying spot. Okay, this is going to start a larger conversation a little bit. Bayley got the win here. Why are we pinning our women's intercontinental champion? Why are we
that you just crowned
the very first one? You just crowned her. Why are we pinning her? Why are we pinning her? And we're gonna have this conversation again on SmackDown. Ugh, this might be the low point of the night for both shows because this part irritates me.
And you know what? That's an easy fix too. You know how you fix that? You don't book the Intercontinental Champion.
Amen.
You just don't have Bayley go over somebody else. They're not going to be in the chamber anyway, so who does it matter who it is?
Exactly. So Bayley wins. It was a good match. I'm not taking anything away from Lyra. I'm taking away from something from WWE for treating a champion like this.
Yeah, the booking.
Let's not do it. Then we had an AJ Styles promo, and he comes out and he talks about how it was disappointing and all that stuff about how he came back and he got injured again on that first match, and he was really upset. And I believe, like, I think we've been doing this podcast about as long as he was injured. Because I think one of the first things we talked about was AJ like not knowing if this was a work or not, and he looked really upset when it happened. So yeah, so legit, and all that. He's back now. Now this is funny because he's interrupted by Dominic Mysterio and Carlito, and I don't know where this is going yet, and I still don't. But Styles first, he looks at Carlito and he's like, "What are you wearing? Are you really wearing purple skinny jeans?" And Carlito's like, "What? Am I really?" Carlito's funny, but
I don't know if he's in a position to talk, considering he's had a soccer mom haircut for the past 10 years.
But then Dominic starts talking shit. He's like, hey man, I get it. You got the Eddie shtick going on with that weird ass haircut and that mustache, and you're trying to look like him because it upsets your dad. He's like, we get that. He's like, but you got to remember that you're still just Rey Mysterio's punk ass kid. And that upset Dominic enough.
I bet he didn't like that.
Yeah, he actually hit AJ Styles, which was a dumb decision because AJ Styles looks like he eats Dominic Mysterio for breakfast. And then he did proceed to eat Dominic Mysterio and Carlito for breakfast. And so, yeah.
Let's not forget that he actually knocked out one of the Miz's veneers legitimately on a phenomenal forearm. The dude can go. He's got some ability to actually hurt you if he wants to.
So then we go backstage. Jackie Redmond's back there. She's interviewing Seth Rollins. He's doing his thing. I hate him. Anyway, he was interrupted by Finn Balor, who basically lets us know that the two of them are going to be having their elimination chamber qualifying match next week. So today, as this goes up, they'll be doing their elimination chamber qualifier. So I'm sure it's going to be Seth. I have no reason to believe it'll be Finn Balor.
No, he's not been positioned in the past 2 years to think that he actually has a shot in a world title qualifier, number one contenders match, let alone and for the big
they've got
belt.
his own Judgment Day making him look like a fool now. Like when they do backstage vignettes now, like Liv is doing her like undercutty, like backward compliments and all that good stuff. Like they're making him look like a fool, basically. And so he's not in position for anything right now. Just another reason why I hate the Judgment Day, because Finn Balor's full of talent and you're not doing anything with it.
I know a way that you can bring him back to. After WrestleMania, Becky Lynch comes back. Becky Lynch was trained by Finn Balor. Becky Lynch dated Finn Balor for a little bit before she went off to Japan, or before he went off to New Japan for the first time, and they just couldn't make it work. They're still very close to this day. She could come in and be like, dude, what happened to you?
Yeah.
And then list off all the goofy things that he's been involved in since then. It's like, you were the first Universal Champion, and the only reason that you had to vacate the next day wasn't because of anything you did, but because of a freak accident against the man who would be my husband. So let me tell you, when I say this, that you can believe me when I say this. You are a shadow of the competitor you used to be, and it makes me sad. Because even though my husband doesn't like you, you still mean a lot to me. So get your shit together.
And Seth could be totally mad about her saying that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That way you can carry on the feud between the two, and you can maybe even do a double switch if you want to. I mean, he kind of flirts with being a heel anyway.
Fair. So then we got a world tag title match, War Raiders versus American Made. So we got the Creed brothers versus Eric and Ivar. First of all, don't know why they're still sticking with the Eric and Ivar names. I don't know why they're doing that.
Because they already have them trademarked.
I guess so. Now,
Probably.
Julius and Brutus Creed. Let me explain these guys. One of them looks like Gunther, and one of them looks like Walter.
I know what you mean when you say that. I get what you're going for.
Okay,
There.
I mean they're
Okay.
legitimate brothers, so they look alike. But one of them
Yeah.
is Gunther, and one of them is Walter.
One of them is before the lost weight.
One of them is before, and one of them is after. So, they're fantastic wrestlers, but I cannot get over how much one of them definitely does look like Gunther. Um, it's hard. So this was a good match though. Like War Raiders and these guys mesh well. It's a really good it's a really good match. They mesh well, but I just don't see the Creed brothers being the guys to take the titles off these guys. Especially not with how many good tag teams we have now. Other than a few tag teams, the Raw tag division is largely kind of dormant right now, but there's so many other things going on. But there are still enough good tag teams that this shouldn't be the feud. But the War Raiders are defending pretty consistently, like every week. So, I mean, it had to be these guys eventually.
Well, it couldn't continue to be the Judgment Day week after
Yeah.
week after week after week
Yeah.
after week.
So it was a good match. Now, we go backstage again, and AJ Styles is there, and Braun Breaker's there, and looks like we're probably they're teasing. It looks like we're gonna get an AJ and Braun match, which is wild to me. That could be crazy. Then we see Rhea Ripley, and she's going up to Io Sky, and Io Sky's still kind of pissed off at her for costing her Elimination Chamber spot. So Rhea says, Raw after Elimination Chamber, I'm going to give you a title shot. So there we go. So Raw after Elimination Chamber, Io and Rhea. That makes me wonder what else is happening in Elimination Chamber that they have to put a women's title match on Raw, but at the same time they've been doing this. They'll put other title matches that are pay-per-view worthy onto the Raw after, because the pay-per-views are only 4 or 5 matches.
I'm wondering, this sounds like they may be heading towards making a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Maybe like something screwy happens and either Io wins the title, out of nowhere when nobody expects it to, because you kind of expect it. You usually this close to Mania expect the champions to retain, generally speaking. Or maybe she loses, but it's due to a whole bunch of controversy or something, and so she's added in there as well to, with whoever else won the Elimination Chamber.
So then,
but yeah, I don't know. That seems weird. That seems weird to me too. It's like, are they cooking? Are they cooking to put her in there because of the reactions that she's been getting lately? Like, clearly they're actually listening to reactions.
Yeah.
Whereas they hadn't traditionally for a very long time. But I mean, that's the only reason Jey Uso is in the spot he's in, is because people are reacting to him and they're going along with the wave as they should.
Yeah.
So, I mean, mostly anyway. Like, you can still stretch things, but I mean, it's WrestleMania season. I don't know where else you would stretch it to. So,
so after all that, CM Punk comes to the ring. We got promo time with CM Punk. Always fun time. He talked about how he told Cody Rhodes he won't stab him in the back, he'll stab him in the front. And then he talked about John Cena being in the Elimination Chamber and how he's in his way now, and I'll beat up John Cena too. It doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. You know how CM Punk does. And then he was interrupted by Logan Paul, who's coming out for his Elimination Chamber qualifier against Rey Mysterio. Okay, so
you didn't watch
I stayed for what Punk said to him, because I knew Punk was going to, because as I'm going to fast forward, it's like, does the wide zoom shot where you can see like the ring and the entrance, and Logan Paul hasn't come out yet, and there's this video playing that doesn't say Logan Paul on it, and the music's playing and the crowd isn't making any noise at all. And CM Punk very loudly on the mic while this is happening says, "Whose theme music even is this?" And then Logan.
I mean, with all the Def Rebel discourse, I'm sure that was pointed in a certain direction on purpose.
But then Logan Paul shows up, and the crowd is not pleased. It is obviously a go away boo, and I'm afraid that WWE is going to misinterpret this again. But I mean, you can hear it.
You have that habit.
You can hear the disdain, like the hate. It is different. Like there is Dom Mysterio heat, which is we might still buy your T-shirt, but we're going to pick on you. And then there is the way they were booing Logan Paul, and you can hear a distinct difference, even on TV. It is, you can tell this is not regular boos. This is please go away shit. So I wanted to see what CM Punk would say to him because he came out and got in the ring with CM Punk, and CM Punk decided not to leave. So I was like, okay, he's obviously going to talk to him. And so Logan Paul spouted off some bullshit. It was stupid. I can't remember what he said, but it wasn't memorable. And CM Punk said, "Hey man, I charge money to be trained, but if you get in the Elimination Chamber somehow through the legend Rey Mysterio, I'll beat your ass there for free." And then he left. He told him, "You got Rey Mysterio to worry about. I wouldn't be jacking your jaw at me." And so he left.
Well, I'm sure that's foreshadowing.
Here's where I fast forwarded all the way to the end of this match, which was regrettably the main event. Just to catch the very last moment of it where he wins and now he's in the Elimination Chamber. So, God, I can't just fast forward through the men's Elimination Chamber. And some people out there will
hopefully
virtue signal me.
Hopefully he's like in there first and then eliminated first.
Yeah.
I doubt that's going to happen, but I mean,
now with the other names in the Elimination Chamber, I would assume he would be the first one eliminated. I mean, because we're probably going to get Seth Rollins in there next week. So we got Seth and Logan and John Cena and CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. We're still missing
Logan's side. That's just stacked. Just absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
Like usually, historically the chambers have had like one or two like big names who you could conceivably see going over, and then like 4 mid-carders who like haven't even sniffed the Intercontinental belt but are somehow getting a world title shot here.
Yeah.
They're just used for fodder. This is not one of those.
I hate this. I hate that he's even on TV. I hate that he's main event in Raw. I hate that he's going to the Elimination Chamber over Rey Mysterio. I don't really want Rey in the Elimination Chamber, but I hate that that's who he got to beat to go. Like, could you please give him somebody, like, give him the Miz or something? Somebody I could live with him beating?
Cheat to beat him?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, really? He went over clean. It's even worse. We can edit out.
Paul, blast him with the pulverizer. Score the pin. Yeah. So yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Apparently, it is a Superman punch with Logan Paul's titanium covered fist because he has like a plate in it or something. I don't know.
So yeah, he cheats.
Basically, I hate him either way, and I mean, I'm not even sure if that's accurately what the name was of this move or if I'm right. I like I said, I fast forwarded through most of it. I only caught Rey Mysterio losing. So,
boo!
I hate him. I can't help it. I hate him. I don't like anything he stands for anywhere. So sorry if this isn't much coverage of this, but God, I hate him. He's going to be in the Elimination Chamber. He's going to get plenty of my coverage. He's going to have to. I can't just be like Noob Saibot him, or Benoit him or anything like that. Like I can't do it. I cover the shit. So eventually I'm going to have to cover something he does. He's going to be in a match that I have to watch. So, But yeah, other than this and the way they're treating the women's like mid-tier champions, it was really good.
Mm.
But Logan Paul's a big drag on it, man. It makes it hard to enjoy knowing he's even going to be there. Um, and that thing with the mid card titles of the women that y'all are doing, like where they're taking pins and shit, it's not cool. It's
Yeah.
not cool at all.
Well, hopefully they. I mean, here's something they could do at the chamber to take advantage of it. They could have him be last and have nobody be eliminated, and have everybody unite in their hatred of him and just take
Beat his
turns
ass.
beating him up
Yeah,
until somebody eliminates
that would
him.
be fantastic.
That would be. I imagine a lot of people would find that cathartic.
Probably, probably. Ugh. Now, with that said, Raw was good this week, and we're gonna get to the shine.
Yes. So let's go into the shine. This was AEW Dynamite, the go home show before their not pay per view, their pay per view, not pay per view. But from February 12th, 25, Cedar Park, Texas. How far is Cedar Park from you? I don't know how far that is.
That's about
Texas is a
7 hours
huge state.
away.
7 hours away.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Is
that is
that
the
close
crazy part.
to Houston?
No, Houston's 12. This would be
12.
more
Okay.
like Dallas or Austin. It's
Okay.
in between the two. So
Gotcha. See, this is I used to be good at geography, but I literally know very little, like a thumbnail's worth of information about the geography of Texas. It's an enormous state.
yes,
Um, but yeah, Matt, I thought the show was really really good. I think AEW's been hitting it out of the park lately. Like this,
mm-hmm.
it's like number 3 of what will, spoiler alert, be 4 really really good shows in a row. I think. Show opens up with Max Caster. He's in the ring. He's got his certificate, his trademark. He's like, who can survive the best wrestler alive? And to absolutely nobody's surprise except for Max Caster, Hangman Adam Page answers the call. And I honestly like the little bit of business here because Caster is actually kind of really good in this comedic role, heel role. Like he bails and he goes out into the crowd, and he's like tries to like blend in with the crowd, but the crowd gives him away. He's like, he's right here, and so Heyman goes out and chases him, drags him back in the ring, and Max gets a little bit of offense in on it, but for the most part, Page just hits him over and over again with his bicep and just picks him apart. Buckshot lariat, boom, it's done. Like this was exactly what everybody wanted from this. Max Caster gets beat up. Hangman Page gets to look awesome. He gets a nice, kind of easy win, and it sets up for later. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Um, uh, uh, Backstage or like a video package with Nana and Swerve. Ricochet says he's moving on to bigger and better things, and then it cuts to Swerve, and Nana and Swerve basically says, the last time I focused on business, which is what Nana was trying to convince him to do, leave this crap behind and focus on winning the world title back. The last time I kept my eye off personal stuff, I lost everything. Obviously referring to and aided by the video, which replayed the footage of Hangman Page burning down his house. So like, yeah, he's not gonna let this go because he feels like he can't, which I think is a nice little parallel to his rival Adam Page. I think they have more in common than they think they do, and I think within a year we may pay that off, which is great. Um, but yeah, so this thing with Ricochet is continuing. I imagine they'll blow it off at Revolution. Um, Next match was for the World Trios Championship, the first time it'd been defended in months. Um, I know that they kind of hand waved away, it's like nobody, everybody's scared to face us, blah blah blah. But we finally get a tag or a trios title defense. I'm okay with that. Love me some trios action. Death Riders versus Undisputed Kingdom. This was very back and forth. I mean, kind of it followed the basic formula of the baby faces coming out on top and then the heels getting back, and very you know wrestling plays around with its formulas, but at the basics, it's mostly the same. Um, but yeah, this was pretty back and forth. Yuta again, the most hated heel in this whole thing. People hate Yuta because his betrayals and just being an obvious wannabe. He wants to be liked so bad, guys. He just wants a place where he can belong. He just
Not by
chose the
us.
wrong place and the wrong people. And for that, we have very little tolerance. I mean, you can't put somebody's head in a bag and expect us to be on your side for too long. So it's really nice to see him be the whipping boy, which they would bring that up later in the week too. Um, but yeah, like this was pretty back and forth, back and forth. Uh, the end came when it looked like that the Undisputed Era was really getting some momentum. They had isolated Yuta, and they were going to take him out. But and Kyle locks an ankle lock. But on the outside, Claudio swings Roddy into the guardrail, grabs a chair, and gets in the ring. Cole is there with a super kick, but the referee is dealing with trying to deal with that, so he doesn't see Yuta when he goes low on Kyle and hits him in the bulls and then rolls him up for the win. So, I mean, the match itself was good. Like, I mean, I didn't really expect a title switch here, but I wouldn't
No.
have hated it.
Right.
I mean, honestly, the rest of the Death Riders going into Revolution don't really seem to have much to do. So running it back, maybe switching the title and then running it back isn't such a terrible idea, in my opinion. Uh, and they still may, for all I know. I don't know. But it wasn't set up here, so I have no idea. After the match, the Death Riders tried to beat the crap out of Cole again, but oddly enough, 2.0 and Danny Garcia are there, and they break it up. So maybe it's going that way. Maybe it's going to be those three instead at Revolution. I don't know. We'll see. In the back, Jay White and Adam Copeland take advantage of the fact that the Death Riders are still in the ringside area to just kind of Rochambeau Moxley and Marina Shafir from behind and steal the briefcase. They got bolt cutters and everything, and
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, the briefcase that supposedly holds the AEW World Title belt. Um, so they kind of just snatch it, and then Mox and Marina are just so pissed, just irate, absolutely. Like they bully the camera guy on their way out and everything. It's oof. Um, Next, they hype up the MJF versus Dustin match that's going to go on later. Uh, but the real story here is that Hangman Page, interrupts the interview. He wants MJF to leave, and MJF kind of like lightly jabs at him, like uh, with like a soft joke, and Page is like 5 years here, and that's all you've got. And then he hits him with the real stuff, and basically completely psychologically takes apart Hangman Page and berates him for going just losing his mind over not getting an apology, which is obviously a gross oversimplification of what's happening
Well,
and
that's
what
what
has
MJF
happened.
does. So,
It
but
like,
yeah,
but I
he
mean, most
killed
of
it.
it was pretty spot on
Yeah.
and analysis, and that really, really heated things up. And yeah, like even before what's going to happen in a few minutes, I was really, really pumped by this segment for Paige to kind of like just get his back on him. But before that, we get a squash match. Katsuyori Shibata, Hook, and Samoa Joe face off against Aaron Solo, who's all elite, but he's used, on the lower end of the cards to put people over. John Cruz, who's worked there before, but is not all elite, and Rosario Grillo, who I've never seen before, so far as I know.
Don't know who that is.
Um, yeah, it was. Poor John Cruz. he keeps getting like his whole gimmick whenever he shows up is getting destroyed by Samoa Joe. Like there's that famous what the heck, man, as he does the walkaway spot. Like that's the one that I remember the most. But
Mhm.
this one, he tries to chop Joe, and it does not work out. He gets immediately muscle busted for the win. Finally, we get a name for these guys. They're calling themselves the Ops.
I hate it.
I'm not huge on it either.
I don't know what they would
Honestly,
call themselves, but this is not it, guys.
I honestly, what I would have done if things were different, if WWE essentially didn't own TNA now, for all intents and purposes, I would have gone back to TNA and said, "Hey, could we buy the rights to the Nation of Violence off of you?"
That'd be great.
Because that was a great name, but it was, I think it was initially intended to be the group of a stable and not just what Samoa Joe called his fans. But like, you know, like Shawn, like the Click eventually, was in 1996 was just Shawn Michaels' fans and not like an actual group as far as most people in the know were not in the know were concerned.
Yeah.
But they're not going with that. They're going the Ops, which I'm like, okay, I don't even know what that means.
The
I mean,
opposition.
like, I'm guessing they're trying to be like Black Ops, like, but like
No,
nothing
no,
they're
no, no,
doing
no.
is in secret.
That's like a rap
So
thing,
like,
man. They're the ops. They're the opposition. They're the ops. That's
but
literally what it means, dude. That don't read any farther into it. That's what it is.
oh, I'm going to though. I am
There's not
neurotic and
anything. There's not. You'll drive yourself crazy. There's not anything further to read in
it's
it. The ops means the
it's not great.
opposition.
What, to everybody?
No, no, no.
What?
They are. I mean, I guess specifically in this case to the patriarchy, but
Yeah, but they're
yes,
not going to stop calling themselves that once they're done beating the patriarchy,
maybe
are
they
they?
will. Who knows? But
If they
yeah,
do,
that
then it'll make sense.
maybe they
But
are
it'll
the
be named.
opposition to everybody. I don't know, but that's what ops means. They're the opposition.
Okay.
Gangster
In
education.
yeah, I mean, if you guys could actually see me, you would know that that would definitely need to be something I would need to be educated about.
And you would
Uh,
know you would ask how I knew, and I'm not telling you.
oh, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't ask. I no. You're far more worldly than I am. Next came Chris Jericho, in the back, and he said, he's with Renee, and he's like, they're talking crap about the bounty and everything. He wants Bandito in the ring for 5 minutes. I think he saw the spot that Bandito and Brian Keith did and just wanted to do it himself,
Yeah, I
which
think
I
so.
don't blame him because that spot was awesome. The the shootout, the 10 paces thing, it was freaking great, and this crowd loved it here too. They were
Yeah.
counting along with 10 steps that couldn't even be made because the ring wasn't big enough. Because how can two people like that? No, the hypotenuse isn't long enough, guys. 10 paces ain't gonna work. But it, the light, you know they turn around at the end and they look like they're gonna charge at each other, but Brian Keith grabs Bandito's leg, and it's just another sneak attack. The Outrunners come out to make the save, and then Big Bill comes out with the bounty poster, right?
Hmm.
And he just destroys everybody. He just decimates poor Outrunners. Like, I mean, oh gosh. I mean,
Killed
it's,
everybody.
yeah. Like, I like what they're doing with Big Bill. Don't get me
I
wrong,
do too.
but I don't know if I want to sacrifice an entire tag team to double choke slam. You know, it's not what I would have done. I would have at least given. I would at least have him, attack him with a chair first or something. But anyway, here's Powerhouse Hobbs to answer the call. So, uh, big, big, big spine buster, and he chases Learning Tree away. It ended fine. It was good. I like me some big meaty men slapping meat, and it looks like we're gonna probably get. I would say that they're probably gonna do that on the pre-show, 0 hour, Big Bill versus Hobbs, if I had to guess. That seems like the main event of a 0 hour. Anyway, Dustin Rhodes gets his chance on the microphone to hype the match before it actually happens, and he says that he hopes MJF brought the devil because Dustin's the last of his kind. Like, okay, we get it. I love you, Dustin, but we get it. You're the last of your kind. The devil, blah blah blah. Go out and have a great match. Guess what they did? They absolutely. Oh, this match was so good,
It
guys.
was. It was so
Like
good.
Dustin keeps getting better. MJF is probably at his best when wrestling these more old school type guys.
Hmm.
Like, this was just the perfect kind of match for MJF. You know, he played the smarmy, up and coming under 30 heel, who thought, his youth made him automatically better than Dustin. And Dustin keeps aging like a fine wine in there. Like,
Hmm.
I can't, like, at one point, I think the coolest part was I don't think I've ever seen anybody get in position for the curtain call like this before, but MJF was on the ropes and uh, he uh, he gets crotched, but instead of going down on the top turnbuckle, his feet slip and go and he lands like with his legs across the second ropes, which I don't think I've ever seen anybody get in that position from that before. And so, um, but this was after I think what oh yeah, because he was gonna come off the top rope and Pillmanize Dustin's wrist. So the chair was in there, and Dustin got out of it and hit the top rope. And while Audrey or uh, Aubrey rather, while she was taking care of the chair, getting it out of the ring, he hit Shattered Dreams or Curtain Call, or whatever you call it. The kick to the nuts.
The Drip Kick City.
Yep. And he not only did that, but he finished up with a final reckoning, and the 3 count it was so close. I thought, wow, they're actually going with this for just a millisecond. But no, he kicked out. Uh, they both traded crossroads at one point in the ring in the match. Finish though came when MJF hit his own final reckoning, uh, and he locks in the salt of the earth, and uh, Dustin makes his way close to the ropes, but then MJ pulls it back, puts him in a crossface hold, and Dustin passes out. Um, I think this was. I know that there was some discourse online about how, Dustin probably should have tapped, but I don't really see it that way. This was in. It was in his. It was close to his hometown. Uh, it was. I mean, the character work that he had done up to this point suggested that he was not in any kind of way uh leaning towards giving up at all. And remember, in wrestling, submission means more than it does in MMA. In MMA, it's more about saving yourself. In wrestling, because we know it's staged, we accept the storyline um implications that sometimes giving up means you are weak in character and that you don't have what it takes to stay in there. Like it's more about your character than your physical abilities a lot. So Justin passing out in front of what is essentially a hometown crowd, I think makes more sense. So I was on board with the finish because he shouldn't have gone over with MJF. But no, they showed up and showed out. I'm more than happy with that. That was a great match. Um, he locks the salt of the earth in after the bell though, and then Hangman Page comes out to make the save. Probably not because it's Dustin, but because it's MJF. And but only then do all the security flood the ring. It's like not for Dustin, but for Hangman. They'll bring out the security. That's I don't know. I don't know if I like the disrespect there, but great second straight week of great pull apart brawls for
Yeah.
MJF. Like, and this one, I loved how he wasn't a coward about it, like because of that. And they set this up with the promo that he cut on Page. He feels like he is superior to Hangman Adam Page. There's no reason that he would run away from Hangman Adam Page when he feels that he is, even though he's not morally superior, he's not going to back down. Not in those circumstances. He'll be a chicken heel in other circumstances, but they set it up really really well with them bumping into each other for the last 4 weeks and him absolutely dressing Hanger down earlier in the episode. MJF
Yeah.
not being the cowardly hero was the right call, and it makes the upcoming match between them, whenever it is, I assume at Revolution, really, really interesting.
Yeah.
After that, oh yeah, they kind of like do the go some back and forth. The pull apart itself was like 8 minutes. That's a long pull apart.
Yeah, it was a
But
really long one.
They kept coming out, and at one point they drag Page to the back, and then MJF gets on the mic and calls him a coward, and then Hangman comes back out, and this time he ain't wearing a shirt, so you know he means business. And the finishing part of this before it goes to, I think it was a video package before a commercial, but the final shot of them was amazing because they're only like 5 feet apart, but Hangman's on the floor and MJF is in the ring, and they're both being held back by referees and security, and they're just spitting venom at each other, and their eyes are all bugged out. It's like, oh man, this is a poster if I ever saw one. Like,
yeah,
it was excellent cinematography. Kudos to the cameraman on the ground there. Come back from commercial, and Megan Bain squashes Maya World. Don't know anything about Maya World except that she got squashed here, and that she's apparently got some buzz on the indies. That she's
yeah,
probably gonna be a
yeah.
big deal in a few years.
She's worked
But I don't know anything about
a lot. She comes from the same places like Brian Keith did. She's worked up here. She's mostly works like Houston and Austin area. But she's really good. And yeah, we probably will hear more from her sooner than later, probably.
And then as Megan Bain was walking to the back, Chris Statlander decided that she was going to have her entrance for her match. So hey, even if one was a squash match, 2 women's matches on Dynamite
in a row. Yeah, my wife even
in a
said that. She
row.
was like, two women's matches. What?
Damn, yeah. So Statlander and Megan Bain had kind of a stare down as they were passing on the entrance ramp.
Give me that one, Stat.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford was next. This match was much more competitive.
Mhm.
Ford is, I still say she's got like something missing, but she still showed up here. Like her work, her in-ring work is good, but I feel like I think maybe it's her facial expressions she needs to work on, like selling emotion.
Yeah, I feel like she doesn't have
that's
any.
it. Yeah, almost. Like, I mean, when she licks somebody's face, that's pretty gross and weird. So, I
Yeah.
mean, at least she's got that going for her.
It's gross and emotion.
But like, she needs to be, you know what she needs to be is in a glass case of emotion, and then she'll learn it. But that being said, no, I'm not trying to cast shade on Penelope. I like
No.
Penelope, but like, I feel like she could take herself to the next level if she gets a little bit more of the acting bits of it in. Because in the ring, she's there. She's absolutely there. So
she doesn't get a lot of stick time. She needs more stick time.
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to get better if you can't get your reps in?
Yeah, she doesn't need a lot of mic time at all. So like, we don't even really know her. Like, maybe she is emotional. Do we know? Because
I mean, I have a feeling that she's gonna be getting some more, because this match ended with Statlander getting over the Saturday Night Fever for the 1, 2, 3. Nothing really groundbreaking or controversial there or whatever. But afterwards, Megan Bain comes out and lays out Statlander, hits her with a. Why does her F5 look weird? I don't know why her F5 looks weird, but it looks weird. But it's fine.
I thought it looked weird too. I don't know what she does different than Brock though. I'm pretty sure it's like the same exact F5. And even my wife said that. She was like,
I think it's
What her? She's like,
because
is that a modified F5? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what is she doing different? But it
I
does
think
look
it's
weird.
because she's not like as strong as she is. She's still not Brock Lesnar,
Yeah, she's not
so she
getting them
still
out
can't
there,
like.
out there.
Yeah, I think she's not like swinging them around as far because she physically can't. Because
Can't.
it's
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar that you're comparing yourself to. Like, who could? you
Yeah.
know,
Exactly. He's
I
a
mean, only
steroid.
like super big guys like Wardlow and stuff can spin guys that much.
Brock.
But
He was a freak of nature before the steroids.
yeah,
So like, yeah, he is like what you would like if steroids were a good thing, that would be peak man. Like
yeah,
for real. Like
physically, yeah. Um, but yeah, I think maybe that's it. Is just that she's the average, like the percentage of size that Brock has in comparison to the majority of his opposition is still a bigger percentage
mhm.
difference than even for a woman built like Megan Bain. The percentage of difference in mass isn't really all that much in comparison. So maybe she just can't swing them out as much
Maybe.
as Brock can. But again, we're comparing her to an absolute freak, and that's not fair to Megan. So I mean, it just looks different.
Yeah.
I guess I'll
Penelope
say from now on.
also Penelope is a bit more substantial than Thunder Rosa. So week to
Well, I mean,
week,
she
like
wasn't the
she
one
got.
getting the move.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean
Stat was.
Statlander. Statlander's a little bit more substantial than Thunder Rosa. Sorry, I didn't mean to say
It's
this.
true.
I'm not calling anybody fat here. I'm just saying like Thunder Rosa is
No,
visibly
no,
smaller than Chris Statlander. Chris
yeah.
Statlander is a strong
She's like
woman with big muscles.
5'8".
Yeah.
Like she's tall,
So Thunder
tall and
Rosa was
lanky. She's
probably
thick.
easier to throw around than Stat
I would like
was.
to think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they kind of the one thing that Penelope did do afterwards was kind of shot Megan a look, and this is the second time that Megan Bain has been throwing people around after they beat up Penelope Ford
Mm-hmm.
specifically.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if maybe they're gonna have her be Penelope's heater, which means that they're probably gonna be giving Penelope more mic time.
I hope so.
So
I hope
I
that's the
mean,
end result. I mean, it would
and
be cool
and
for them
you
to
know
be
what?
together.
You know what too? That goes to what we were talking about last week about possibilities. That's another tandem. That's another possible women's tag team.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, there you are again. See, that's
So
another tag team.
maybe they're building something and we just don't see where the building blocks are far enough apart that we're not putting it together immediately. But maybe that's what they're building.
Yeah. I mean, we might be getting more too. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Uh Harley Cameron has a video package and
That was
it's
awesome.
great. It was so good. It
When
was
did
so
Harley
good.
Cameron invoke the spirit of Tech Nine? Someone tell me
I
how that happened.
don't know. How did she? I can't speak that quickly.
I
I,
can, but it's hard. It's like
it's
what she did there was like difficult to do.
yeah.
Like, as
Is there
somebody who is a
anything
hip hop aficionado, what she did was a type of rap that is fucking hard. Okay,
she can do? Literally anything.
can't
She
she?
can do literally anything. And even then, they cut that off in the middle, and then she cut this heartfelt promo
That made me
about
cry.
that's like, uh, how everybody gets their start somewhere. Maybe this is just my start, and I'm like, oh,
She made
God,
me
like she's
cry,
so
bro.
she is within a year and a half, she's going to be the face of this division, which is so weird because like she's more of an entertainer than she is a wrestler if you want to split the two. But like she leans more on the character stuff than the in-ring stuff. And that's not usually what AEW is known for. Because even with the overtop character like Tony Storm, she's still grounded with her wrestling. We knew she was a great wrestler beforehand. And this is a new, not a rookie, but still a young green wrestler. And she's already got like what a lot of people would consider the more difficult part of being a professional wrestler down like it's nothing. Everything else comes effortlessly to her. And it's so incredible. Like I love Harley Cameron. In a year to a year and a half, I think she's gonna be on top of this division, ruling it with a felt covered fist.
I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if this is a cold take or a hot take. Okay, I don't. All I know is it is what I feel. All right. I'm sorry, WWE. This is gonna be a y'all like this, or I'm no, not even WWE. Maybe WCW. I'm sorry, WCW. This is gonna be like a Stone Cold level. Like you let this person go, and they're gonna become a star despite you, and they might even carry a company on their back to beat you.
Yeah.
And Harley is
Like,
so entertaining. I could
did she?
see her.
I mean, did she try out for WWE at any point?
She was on WWE. Hold on. Let me fill some time real quick. Let me.
Oh, oh my gosh! Like, really? I had no clue. Like, I mean, I love Harley Cameron, but I just assumed she just kind of came out of nowhere. Like, she first appeared in those QTV sketches, and we're the best part of it. Let's be real. She was the best part of it with her little ditzy character. She had that moment with Anthony Bowens where she where she wanted to be with him, and then the crowd uh, chanted that he's gay, and in a supportive way, very much sign of the times, very very uplifting. I think Bowens even referenced it after this Dynamite. I think he went online and he posted like, man, maybe I should have taken her up on the offer. Like, I thought that was just, I mean, that's a glowing uh not recommendation, glowing endorsement if I've ever heard one or seen one written down.
Okay. So she was signed by the WWE for NXT in 2018 under the name Zion Quinn.
What? How did I miss this?
And she was trained. Here's how she got there. She was trained by Tyler Breeze and Sean Spears. Which, since she showed up in
Okay.
AEW at the time Sean Spears was there, may also be how she got to AEW. But yeah,
Wow.
she
I had
worked.
no clue.
Yeah, she had a NXT contract. It looks like she decided to leave herself. Like they didn't fire her. She decided to leave herself. But guys, you had her. She was in your hands,
I had no
and
clue.
you had no idea
What
what
was
she
her
was
name?
capable of. Zion Quinn.
Yeah, it doesn't ring any
I don't even
bells.
remember her, dude, but I knew she had been in NXT. Like,
And this was
or
2018. I was watching in 2018.
yeah, she
How did I
probably
not?
wasn't there very long, is what it says here. I mean, this is just Wikipedia, so it might not be correct, but I knew she had been signed to WWE at some point. I don't know if she even actually appeared on TV. Um, but she was signed at NXT.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
So yeah, this might be a
Huh.
fumble like for the ages.
Huh. Yeah, no kidding. This woman can do literally anything you ask her to
Literally
do.
everything, and will do everything you ask her to do with a
Yeah,
fervor that even
she's
if you're trying to make her look
no fear
stupid,
whatsoever.
none.
You want to talk about Penta and Cero Miedo? She lives that. Like, she she's very open about being a ventriloquist. I think that's all you need to know. Ventriloquists tend not to be seen as very cool.
No.
she's but she embraced it and she loves it. And guess what? Because she's so good at it and because she's so into it, the crowd is too.
Yep.
Like, it goes to show, if you put yourself out there in wrestling, that audience will go along with you if you are absolutely sincere about it, because they want that parasocial relationship. They want to know you know
Yeah.
Anyway, the we'll talk about her later too, because there's plenty too. But the main event of this match, this show, was the World Tag Team Championship. Hurt Syndicate defend for the first time against the Gun Club. This match was okay. There were a couple of things. Ring rust hits everybody. This is the Guns' first match back, and it's for the belts in the main event on TV. It's gonna probably be a little nerve wracking for anybody. You know, I think they acquitted themselves well, and they actually, at one point looked like they might have enough like craftiness to pull out the win, but I don't think anybody really expected it. This was to establish the Hurt Syndicate. Um, but yeah, high knee from Benjamin, to Austin, spear from Lashley, gets it done. Probably about 10 minutes if we're probably being generous.
It was
Really,
good.
not like a huge long deal, but it was decent.
Yeah.
Um,
I
after
feel
the
like
match,
Austin is who's the taller one? Is that Austin?
Colton. Colton's the tall one that looks
Taller
like
of the
Will
two?
Forte with a man bun.
Okay. I feel like Colton got stuck on Superman punch mode
A
for a little bit there. Like
little
that
bit.
was all he was doing was jumping up and punching. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you're getting a little repetitive there, bud. But it wasn't a bad showing for as long as they've been gone.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. I
I'll
mean,
give them their props.
I'm definitely forgiving
Yeah, I
of.
like
I
them a
mean,
lot, so I'm super forgiving of
first,
them.
man. I mean, I
Uh,
like the way that they're being presented now. Like when
mhm.
they beat FTR, I'm like, what are we doing giving the ass boys the world tag belts off of FTR? Like I hated
Yeah,
it. But being around Jay White and Juice, um, I think they've really matured as performers. I think that they've
yeah.
become. I mean, they still kind of irritate me a little bit on the stick, but at the same time, whatever, it's fine. In the ring, they can go. They're not all show and no go. So, yeah, no, I like the way they're being presented. I'm still curious as to why they haven't been paired back with Jay White.
I'm hoping that's coming now that the tag team thing is out of the way. Like now that they've
Yeah, like
lost. Like I
maybe they
hope that
just
they're gonna.
wanted to get that out of the way first. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
like hey, you guys
I
deserve a
mean,
tag title shot. Let's go ahead and give it to you, and then we'll move you into this program. Like I hope that's
yeah,
what's happening.
I mean they're the logical ones. I mean between FTR and the Guns, like why don't Cope and Jay White have more backup against the Death Riders?
Yeah, and the
Like
guns would be
this
perfect
is
for
where the
this.
psychology kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
It's like you introduce this as rated FTR, and then FTR is never there to back them up after
Hmm.
that street fight, which was great, but that was 2 weeks ago now,
Yeah.
and things go very very quickly when you have two weekly television shows. Um,
Yeah. Darby and
and then
Cassidy have both been MIA for months.
although that'll change soon for one of
Yeah.
them, but the Guns come back and they've been back for 2 weeks and they haven't even mentioned Jay. They haven't even mentioned Juice. They haven't mentioned Paige, who actually in storyline wrote them off TV. Like they haven't done
Yeah.
anything of like it's. I'm hoping they come back around to it because AEW is known for its continuity, and that's one of the big reasons I like AEW is that they don't ignore these kind of story threads. So I hope that they remain true to form here, and that this is just a temporary like detour.
Yeah.
Um, the real main event of the show though was Cope and Jay White. They come to the ring with a briefcase, and uh, yeah, he's got Barbie or Spike or
Spike.
whatever he calls it. It's a big 2x4 with a bunch of really 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 long nails in it sticking out from it. Uh, yeah, that shouldn't be in anybody's ring.
No.
It's
No.
so dangerous.
Like
Why?
who
Why
is
are we
gonna
doing
eventually
this?
get hit with that?
Um, but he calls Mox out. He's like, "Hey, we're here." Mox and Marina come through uh the crowd, and they're like, "Yeah, don't do this." He's like, I'm gonna, you know, you don't want to show this to the world because of reasons. I'm gonna break it open if you don't give me the world title shot that I want. And Mox eventually relents, but he's like, "You really don't deserve this, and I'm gonna break your neck," and this blah blah blah. It was all right. Like, of all the things that are happening in AEW right now that are major storylines, this one is not really hitting. for me the most. Um,
No, me either.
I like the players. I don't really like the story. But I mean, I'm sure that the match at Revolution that they will have will kick all sorts of behind. Honestly, I do. The matches themselves very, very rarely disappoint, even if their build-ups have not been the best. So I'm looking forward to the match, and I'm looking forward to being done. Mostly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that show was a really good show overall, though. My little nitpicks aside, like I thought it was a definitely, it definitely paved the way for Grand Slam Australia. I thought it was an excellent go home show. Sometimes these shows can be really hit or miss. Sometimes they can really ramp up the anticipation, and sometimes they can let out a big wet fart. But this was definitely the former.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I was happy with this.
Hell yeah.
All right, so let's uh kick it and go to the Morton.
Yep. Here we go. All right, let's get to our Morton for the week. That's our SmackDown from February 14th. Um, so, okay. SmackDown suddenly became less hard to deal with for me because my wife decided to sit down and watch SmackDown with me this week. And she has become a fan of Tiffany Stratton. She really likes Tiffany Stratton. So she's going to be watching WWE with me, which makes it a lot easier for me to watch SmackDown for 3 hours on a Friday night.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah. So we opened up Wade Barrett. Joe Tessitore is not there for some reason this week, so we've got a guy named Vic Joseph who's good. Makes some mistakes, but
Yeah, he's been in their
he's all right.
system for a while, mostly in NXT though.
Yeah. Um. So then we get with Cody. He talks about his top options for WrestleMania. Um. Then he starts talking about Solo, and he didn't get to say much. And then Drew McIntyre comes out. Then Jacob Fatu comes out and said he plans to bring the title home back to his family where it belongs. And then Sikoa arrives backstage, and Fatu kind of looks mad about it. And he's like, hey, we're going to talk about this more, but first I'm going to talk to Solo. And I don't know. It looks like the new bloodline's going to be really breaking up now, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, Solo versus Fatu would probably work at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Give them both something to do.
Yeah, it would. It would. Um, so then we had our first match of the night, Naomi versus Chelsea Green. We're going to continue our conversation about mid-card women being treated badly. Chelsea Green, of course, shows up in her America gimmick. Piper Niven's working her Secret Service gimmick. It's still hilarious. But she goes after Naomi. They're getting their match done. It's really good. They have a really nice, like 7 or 8 minute match, but then Naomi wins to qualify for the women's elimination chamber, and she pins the women's US champion clean. Like, they did it again. They did it twice in a week. It's not a good idea. It wasn't a good idea the first time. It's not a good idea now. I don't know.
It's a little bit more acceptable when it's a heel.
Yeah.
You know, when it's a heel either cheating to win or it's the heel champion losing to a virtuous babyface. But yeah, I don't know. That doesn't. I don't like it either.
Yeah.
Poor
So
Chelsea.
yeah, I don't appreciate that part, but kind of the low point of the night. But it was a good match. So then we move on to a tag match with Los Garces and Motor City Machine Guns. These guys wrestled like they were meant to wrestle each other. Like it was really good. Like the Garzas can get their ass kicked really well. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, Motor City Machine Guns picked up the win, but they were like countering some of Motor City Machine Guns like signature offense with moves and um like it's I don't know, man. Like it was a really great showing. They should be featured more often.
Lucha.
Yeah. It was really good, man. So then LA Knight, well, we had Fatu and Tama Tonga backstage. They're talking to Sikoa. He said he loved Jacob, but Jacob just kind of ignored him and shrugged him off and walked away. We'll see where this goes. Then
that's new.
Yeah. Then Shinsuke came out for a promo saying he was looking for a proper contender for his U.S. title. And then, of course, LA Knight shows up because that's who he took it from. And so we're going to do this again, I guess. But then LA Knight was interrupted by The Miz because The Miz thinks he's a proper contender. And LA Knight basically eviscerated him on the mic, talking about how he's no longer relevant. And he's been playing the Grand Slam champion shtick for 15 years because that's how long it's been since anybody gave a shit about him. And just, it was bad. And then they had a match right then, and Knight wins. So it looks like Knight and Nakamura are going to fight at Elimination Chamber for the U.S. title, maybe. I don't know when this is going to go down, but it's going to go down at some point. Okay. Here's where we're going to talk about somebody who got over and is over forever. Because now it was time for R-Truth.
Oh, yeah.
And they had R-Truth come out for his match against Carmelo Hayes before they played the segment that set the match up. Don't know why they did this.
What?
Yeah, I don't know why they did this, but they did that thing where they cut to a segment during the entrance, but it was the segment that sets this match up. So R-Truth comes out, the whole arena's doing the what's up thing with him. Everybody's doing it. He's got as many people doing what's up with him as Yeet gets. R-Truth is just over. You're right. He got over. He's over forever. Plus, he's freaking hilarious, which we're going to talk about now. Because then that segment comes on, and he's face to face with Carmelo Hayes. And Carmelo's like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry. I know you're friends with Akira Tozawa, but I had to show him last week that I'm him." And R-Truth is like, "No, you're not him. He's Akira. He's Tozawa. You're Carmelo Hayes." And he's like, "No, but I had to show him I'm him." And he's like, "Look, man, you don't understand. Like, your mama named you Carmelo Hayes. His mama named him Tozawa." Like, he's like, "No, I had to show him that I was him." And R-Truth is like, "Man, you're the reason toothpaste needs instructions. You are Carmelo Hayes. He is Akira Tozawa." And
R-Truth will never not be funny.
Dude, I was losing it at this, man. Like, say what you want, man. Like, sometimes WWE is really on point and they're hilarious. And this was R-Truth just being hilarious. So then they had the match. It was a good match, but it was pretty short. It was only like 5 or 6 minutes. And Carmelo picks up the win. Truth was still doing his
so they're rehabilitating him now.
Yeah, they're trying to rehab him. That's 2 in a row now. Yeah, so they're trying to rehab him, it looks like, but don't know what's going to happen now. Then we go backstage, and Candice and Nia Jax are talking, and Alexa Bliss walks up on them, and Nia talks about how she was betrayed once by a friend, talking about how Alexa betrayed her once. And while Alexa's she says her and her doll had a talk about Nia, and how Candice couldn't get her job done and all this other stuff. And then some Wyatt Six stuff started playing on the screen while she's talking to Nia. So it looks like we're going back to that. As much as there was...
I mean, it makes sense.
It does.
It's the thing that makes the most sense with her. Yeah. Otherwise, it feels like a dropped story thread.
But then, I mean, there's been a lot of speculation about whether or not this was what was going to happen, but I mean, that pretty much makes it plain right there, So, then we had, The Miz was coming back from his match that he lost, and Carmelo was, I guess he was going to, maybe they had filmed this earlier, but Miz was like, "People should stop disrespecting us." And Carmelo's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, because Carmelo don't Miz," and trying to set up one of his stupid freaking tag teams. And he went to fist bump Carmelo, and Carmelo was like, "No," and just walked away.
Miss.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So
it took me a second.
Well, yeah, because Carmelo's thing is Carmelo don't miss, and Miz was trying to make them a tag team, I guess.
He should have said, "You're right, I don't," and then walked away.
Right. So then next we had Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax for the women's title. This was a hell of a match, man. Like they really got down. Tiffany Stratton's fantastic. She made my wife a fan of her in the span of 7 minutes of this match. Just like it was great watching my wife become a fan of her, like watching this match. But the match was
It's
also
always nice
really
to see
good.
it in real time.
Yeah, I watched it happen in real time. It was awesome. But I mean, it was a really good match. They were getting down. It looked like Tiffy was about to hit the prettiest moonsault ever, and Candice tripped her up, and the referee saw it. So disqualification. So the match ended there. They tried to beat her up, but then Trish Stratus interfered. They had talked to her earlier in the night, and she said she might be at Elimination Chamber. So I don't know what's going on there, but so but
it's in Toronto.
Yeah, it's in Toronto. So then they had but afterwards they had a backstage segment, and it looks like it might be Trish and Tiffany versus Nia and Candice at Elimination Chamber.
You know what? It's more women on the
it's more women on the card. I'm happy with it.
That's 10 women on the show at least.
Now, Tiffany was laid out. At the end of the match, Tiffany was laid out by them. Trish saved her, but she was still laid out. And then that was all kind of interrupted by Charlotte Flair, who came out, sat a chair down in the ring, sat down next to Tiffany Stratton, woke her up, and told her, "I pick you. See you at WrestleMania, kid," and dropped the mic and left. So we're gonna get Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania.
You know what? That popped me just now. that popped me just now.
She's like, "Wake up,
for
Tiffy."
You, Charlotte. That's great. That's great.
So
such a heel dick move.
Oh yeah, it was totally a dick move. Then we had
some good heel work.
Right. Then we had a DIY and Pretty Deadly backstage segment to set up their title match next week. I mean, it was typical DIY and Pretty Deadly stuff. Well, nothing changed, nothing world changing here. That match is probably gonna be very good. I fully expect it to be very good. I'm kind of mad if it's not. So then, okay, then we had Jacob Fatu versus Braun Strowman versus Damian Priest for a spot in the Elimination Chamber.
Talk about meat.
Yeah, and they said meat like 1,000 times during this match. Wade Barrett kept saying meat.
How crazy is it that of all the cool and crazy things that Big E has done, probably the biggest legacy that he's going to leave behind is the word meat.
Yeah, probably.
Because it all stems from the podcast they had where he coined the term big meaty men slapping meat. And now the audience has just adopted that for any big dude that faces another big dude.
Right.
I think that's hilarious. And honestly, from what little I know about Big E, I think that he would find that a proud legacy.
So, during this match, we had a couple of cool spots. Like, Fatu yanked Damian Priest off the top rope into a Samoan drop. Like, it was freaking cool. Like, Fatu did some of his no selling of offense, but then something that I did not expect to happen happened. Because I thought that Damian Priest was, headed headlong into a feud with Drew McIntyre, and we may still be getting that because Damian Priest won this match and is going to the Elimination Chamber. So there's our number 6. It's Damian Priest.
I would have thought they would have put Fatu in there.
I would have thought it would have been Fatu either, which is why I totally didn't expect this to happen. But then this is where we also might have gotten the setup for Solo and Fatu after this, because Fatu and Priest are going after each other, maybe trying to set up a singles feud, but oh my gosh, Strowman he's just like on a rampage because he lost. And then Solo shows up and he starts trying to attack Damian Priest, but then Cody Rhodes comes out and he attacks Solo, and like Solo, like Cody grabbed Solo by the back of the head and slammed him hard into the ring post. And my wife was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "He's Samoan. It doesn't hurt. Don't worry."
It's true. Did he sell it like a Samoan though?
Yes, yes. He kind of was like, I mean, he looked like he got hurt, but then he kind of like he got up and he was like ready to spike him. And
Good.
Tomatonga, who is Fatu's right hand man now, he grabbed up Cody. Solo came in for the spike. Cody ducked, and Tama got spiked. So we are probably going to see Fatu get mad about that. So yeah, and that's kind of how the show ended. Um, way better SmackDown than in the last few weeks. It was just like really good compared to the last couple of weeks. And Tiffany Stratton made a fan out of my wife, which is difficult. For all you
She's
female wrestlers
discerning.
out there, she's very discerning. There are people she doesn't like because their gear looks stupid. Okay, like she really likes Tiffany Stratton though, and
Hey,
so
you know what? I mean,
give it to her.
I know people who became fans of football teams because they like their colors. So I mean, there's whatever grabs you, grabs you.
Yeah, fair enough. But with that said, you know, SmackDown was good, so let's get on over to the hot tag.
All right, and we're back to our hot tag, which was something that I have been looking forward to for a long, long time. Ever since they announced this show in like August or whatever it was, I've been looking forward to Grand Slam Australia. A lot of weirdness kind of setting it up. Venue change and ticket prices and blah blah blah. And honestly, it looked like they may have either forgotten to bring their normal ring, or they decided that it was cheaper to just rent one there because they wound up using an 18-foot ring instead of a 20-foot ring like they normally do. 18-foot is the standard across. I mean, the reason that we really only think of that 20-foot ring as looking like the proper size is because WWE used it for so long. Even WCW used an 18-foot ring. So, but considering that AEW has chosen to use a 20-foot ring for the vast majority of their existence, it did look really weird at first. Like, not gonna lie, I was like, and I wasn't the only one. You noticed it when you watched it. There was tons of people on Blue Sky who noticed it. Lots of people making way bigger of a deal than it needed to be. But yeah, it was a little jarring, and then the show happened, and then you got used to it, and you got over it because the show was awesome. Oh my god, it was so good. And they absolutely opened up with the right match. I think they wanted to take advantage of people who are still having the TV on TNT from the NBA All Star stuff to try and hook them as best they could. And I can't believe that they didn't catch some people. Like, I have a feeling that with this match and this crowd, which is into everything, this full 13,000 seat arena that was loud and boisterous and reactive to everything, and with these guys, Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay, and Kenny Omega having a barn burner of about a 20-minute match or so, like, this was perfect to open it up. This was exactly what you needed. Like, if you weren't hooked by this, maybe wrestling's just not for you. Like, and that's okay. That's okay. But wrestling should welcome everybody, but it's not going to be for everybody. Just like any other thing in life, it's definitely for me, and this match was too. Like, there was so much stuff in here. They packed so much content. I can't even begin to describe it all. But there was, I know that I had some concerns that because what we normally see is that when uh, people outside the United States who are part of the show, and then they go to that person's home country, they usually get cheered, right? Just because, oh, they're from here and we don't get representation, and representation is important. They represent us, so we're going to cheer them. Happens a ton in Canada, happens in England all the time. I mean, they were still they were still cheering Mariah May up until the point where she slapped her own mother. Like, they had to try really, really hard for them.
She had to slap her own mother.
Her own mother. She had to slap her own mother to get heat from her hometown. That's how far they had to go. So I know that there was a lot of worry on my end too. But yeah, these Aussies quickly um said that no, we're just gonna go with the heel face thing. We're gonna boo who we don't like, and we're gonna cheer who we do. Doesn't matter where they're from, which is kind of woke, I guess, in a way, because it's
Maybe.
defying the cultural expectations of them. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know how to really describe it other than like, huh. Well, I guess my worries completely went out the window within like the first couple minutes of this match. I'm like, oh, they're not gonna cheer Fletcher. Good,
No.
good, because he ain't winning. So, and he didn't. Um, Actually, though, it's the champion is actually Takeshita, international champion, who actually took the pinfall here, which I didn't think was going to happen, but
No.
it makes sense considering what they set up later. Um, but yeah, the finish was dope. Oh my gosh, despite all the interference from Don Callis, he interfered 2 or 3 times from the desk, behind the referee's back, and I mean, he did all but give somebody a screwdriver to hit him with. But like there was awesome stuff all throughout. Babyface's window when they essentially hit the combination of a top rope hidden blade into a one-winged angel.
That was
It
awesome.
was sick. It was
Yeah.
awesome. So good. Like, I mean, it's not exactly inspired. Like, it makes sense when you think about it. It's like, oh, why wouldn't they combine their two finishers? That's what
Yeah.
everybody does. That's what every Franken team does. But like the visual of those particular moves put together was incredible. Such a great visual and an absolutely worthy match ender.
hmm
Um, but yeah, uh, Kenny winds up pinning Takeshita after about 20 minutes or so. Great opener, exactly what this show needed. This show was not. This was a. It was like a mini pay per view. Not only in the way that they built it up, which was really really good, but also in the way that they approached it because it was very very heavy on the matches and not so much on the backstage stuff. In fact, I think there was only one backstage segment the entire show, and that was later on in the show in response to that first match. Kenny, I'll talk about it now. Why not? Kenny and Will are there. And they're talking, and Kenny says, "Well, I'm tired of people, still bringing up to me to this very day how within a week Takeshita pinned me twice. I'm gonna rectify that situation. I just pinned you now. You got to figure that puts me in line for an international title shot." So he challenges him for the IN belt at Revolution, and then this is the part where it makes sense that he took the pin because that set up a match between those two and still kept Fletcher looking a little bit stronger because that's going to set up his match that Will Ospreay challenges to a Revolution steel cage match.
Oh.
I don't think I think that Ospreay needs to do a little bit of research because the last steel cage match that had involved Don Callis family members didn't really work out so well about keeping out the interference.
Yeah.
Just
It didn't.
ask Kenny Omega. I don't know why Kenny didn't speak up in that moment because yeah, that's where Don turned on him and hit him in the face with the screwdriver. That's where the screwdriver thing was born. Like,
Yeah.
um, but I mean, in theory, we're gonna get the blow off match between these two for a while, inside a cage. I imagine Ospreay will go over. I can't really imagine a world where Fletcher would go over in this particular set of circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's also another reason why they kept him from getting the pin here is because he's already going to be taking the loss at that match. You don't want to do it twice in a row.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
I peg Fletcher for the guy that's going to take the TNT title off Daniel Garcia. So, um,
I think that's a great idea. I'm
yeah.
all for it. Fletcher is on the rise. He's been doing stellar work for a year now, almost, and I think it is deserving of a shiny cummerbund reward.
Yeah.
Speaking of shiny
Championship
cummerbunds,
cummerbund.
guess what? Guess what? Mercedes Monet has 4 of them, and she's defending one of them against Harley Cameron in the next match.
Oof.
Everybody was up for Harley.
Yeah.
Everybody was singing along with her song. Everybody, which is a new song, so people must have went out of their way to memorize it. So,
Right.
but yeah, like she had great gear. She looked like super professional. She brought like her hair was great. So like the presentation thing she's got down too. Like not just the character work, the presentation she's got down too. She looked like a proper wrestler.
Yeah.
Um, and then Monet comes out and she's just soaking up all the booze. Like this had this big fight feel to it. And
Hmm.
if there's to quote Paul Heyman, if there's anything I love, it's the big fight feel.
Yeah.
Oh, this was great. And this was great. Harley, I mean, to her credit, is still, she's still learning and everything, but like, this is the best she's looked. Mercedes went out of her way to make her look incredible and like a true contender. There were parts of this match where they were trading roll ups and stuff like that. I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna catch one. She's gonna catch one.
I
She
was
did.
really hoping, man.
I know, and this is where you and I differ. The Mercedes did retain with her crappy finisher. That we agree on. The finisher is still
Oh,
crappy.
God. If
Like
she had just used
I
the bank statement or something like that, this would have been a
yeah,
thousand
I
times
would have
better.
accepted her tapping out at this point because she's
Yes.
still like what her AEW career is less than 2 years old, something like that. Like
Yeah.
she can tap out. She only had her first win on TV the other day.
Yeah.
Like she can afford to tap out and not really lose anything from it,
Mm-mm.
honestly. But
She's not going to lose a step of momentum off this. Not
no,
a
I
step.
mean at one point, oh, too, before I go into the finish, at one point too, she goes under the ring and she gets Mercedes Pape or Mini Mercedes or whatever they're calling her, and she's just using her to taunt it. And then the image of the match is later on because earlier, Mercedes, the real Mercedes, not the felt one, had gotten so upset about the puppet that she stomped on it and kicked it. And I think she meant to kick it forward, but she wound up kicking it all the way over her head and out of the ring backwards, which I
Mm-hmm.
thought was funny. But it really set up that moment later where she throws Harley out of the ring looking to be content with a count out, which also, for the record, is one of those small details. If a heel is a heel champion who's been booked to be really dominant for the most part, is all of a sudden content with a count out victory, what does that say about the opponent they're facing?
Mm.
It means they see them as a threat. So
Mm-hmm.
it's putting over and trying to put some shine on Harley Cameron.
Yeah.
Mercedes gets a lot of flack, but that's one of these things that she does so well is she makes her opponent look so good with these little things too, not just in the way that she sells, but just the psychology of it. And then the image of the match is they just show being shot from the other side of the ring. They shoot to the far side, and up you see Harley Cameron's face, and she's bringing up the puppet with it, and the puppet looks so angry, and she looks so determined. And I gotta say, and Tracy wasn't there for this match; she was still working. But I think she'll agree with me. My wife will agree with me. I don't know how, I don't know why, but we're gonna go here for a minute. I think she looks freaking hot in that moment. Like I don't think she's ever looked hotter than when she came up with her hair like all a mess and looking all determined with a puppet. Like, how freaking weird is that? Super duper weird. But like, she pulls it off because what can't she? Like she's, uh, I mean, there are people who MJF talks about being a generational talent. Harley is too, in a completely different fashion. But
Yeah.
Harley might just be a generational talent in her
Yeah,
own
she
right.
is.
I
Yeah.
I really have become a huge fan of hers. Yeah, that and that was like the image of the match. Like that was like the takeaway. is that moment where she comes up with the puppet. Like, who else could pull that off? Like, she eventually, she goes for the uh, top rope senton and misses, and then that's when she gets hit with the money maker. But man, like, I I know that you wanted Harley Cameron to win. I think this was the right call because I don't think she actually loses anything from it, and I think that whoever Monet does lose to is going to be made. But given the variety of people that she's faced, it needs to be one of those upper echelon tier performers. It needs to be somebody like a Thunder Rosa. It needs to be somebody like a Tony Storm, somebody in that top tier. Sheeta even. Like, she's already beaten Sheeta twice, so that won't be her. But like, somebody in that tier needs to be the one to take it off her. And that's no disrespect to my beloved Harley Cameron, but she's not there yet. Not yet. That being said, you could get her there. You could get her there because she is learning so quickly. It's I can see it happening within like 6 months, maybe 4, at the rate that she's going. You could run this back at a show down the line there, and she'll be ready, and you won't have any exception from me about it.
Yeah. I don't
So
know
I
where we're
mean,
gonna rerun it. I mean, we haven't had any of the women's matches
they've
for Revolution
got
shake
to
out yet.
though. They
So,
reran with Stat because it was so good. I
oh, they
can't see
have to
any reason
rerun
they
it.
wouldn't do this down the line.
I mean,
Maybe
down the
they
line
rerun it
might be 3
after.
weeks from now.
Maybe they rerun it after Mercedes loses the belt, and then establish that as Harley Cameron's #1 contendership establishment, and then she wins the belt there. I don't know. She can still put her over even if the belt itself isn't on the line directly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nobody's beaten Mercedes yet. Not a
No.
single woman has beaten Mercedes yet. So whoever does, it's going to mean something.
Yeah.
Directly after that was the Brisbane Brawl with Cope and Jay White versus the Death Riders. And this was fun. Like, I mean, it wasn't anything super special or anything, but it was a fun brawl out into the arena and stuff like that. Shafir kept getting involved, stuff like that. I think, like, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't anything like super groundbreaking or anything, but it did feature one moment that I want to cover that is notable to me because Marina Shafir, she comes in and she's hitting Jay White with his kendo stick, right? Trying to get him off of, I think it was Claudio at that point. And she keeps hitting him, keeps hitting him. And he keeps like he gets almost like tougher with every single one. And he just looks at her. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever liked Jay White any more than I've liked him in this moment. Like, he just, I finally, like, I feel like he's always been a good hand, but I feel like I've always liked other people better. Like 5 or 6 guys more ahead of him in the hierarchy for my own personal taste. In that moment, I'm like, oh, that's cool. He's cool now. Like, I wouldn't say I'm on the Jay White train or anything like that, but that simple moment of just like giving Marina that look of like, what are you doing here? Like, what are you doing here? You're gonna get a Blade Runner again. Like, just that annoyed, just kind of like, I can only take so much, and I'm only going to accept the fact that I shouldn't hit a woman so far before I do something about this. And I don't know, like, it resonated. I can't even say why, but like, he was just shrugging off the kendo sticks, and he looked tough, and he
When he
looked
took it off of
cool.
her, oh, God,
Yeah,
when he took that thing, I was hoping he wore her out with it. I was just like, you know what, just take it to her,
yeah.
go. Like, at this point, you know what? Like, let's throw
I mean,
equal
Marina has
rights
been.
and equal lefts.
at this point, Marina has shown that she's been willing and able to take out dudes. So I don't know. Intergender wrestling, it's all fake anyway, right?
Yeah.
It's all fake anyway. You
I
know?
mean, I'm sorry, but
So I mean, this
Whatever
isn't when
whatever
I
we're
was back
holding
in an
on to with
E-Fed
not
and I
whooping her
was,
ass, let's get that handled, okay? Because it's time for her
yeah.
to have an ass whooping. All right.
What I do think was weird though was the finish was Cope passes out to the bulldog choke. I mean, I don't know if that's really the way that you want to set up a world title match. Like there was, you know, there was interference. Uh, it was freaking, Yuta comes in and he's whipping people with the belts, and he's, you know, you've got Maria Shafir who hit Cope in the face with the briefcase and stuff like that.
Very lightly.
Before he was able to hit the concerto with the barbed wire chair of all freaking things.
That would have been great. I was
Um,
rooting for it.
yeah, I mean, I was too, but I, I don't know. I mean, maybe they didn't get to use the barbed wire chair, so I'm hoping that it's Chekhov's barbed wire chair and that'll eventually be used in the world title match. It showed up; it should get used.
I mean, it got
Um,
used. Moxley had like 37 puncture wounds in his back from it.
oh, that's right. He did get it in the back, didn't he?
Yeah, he got it in
Yeah,
the
that's
back, and
true.
it worked.
That's true. Yeah. Uh, but yeah. Anyway, like I don't know, having the challenger pass out, like it's not him tapping out, but it's not,
Mm-mm.
you know, it's not a great look for your number one contender, even with all the
No.
interference, and the plunder. I don't know. I mean, it's fine for what it was. It was fun time. Ultimately, I think the creative on it wasn't what it could have been.
No.
Next match though was for the Continental title. Okada defends against Buddy Matthews. Buddy Matthews apparently gets in like some kind of ankle injury walking to the ring or something, like some freak thing. I didn't know
I
about
wonder
it
if it
until
happened
like
when he did Rhea's kick.
maybe, maybe. I was gonna bring that up. He definitely invoked the spirit of his wife several times during the proceedings.
Yeah.
Um, that yeah, but he did like her kick at his entrance. Maybe that's what it was. He's not used to kicking that high. Uh, but that being said, I only found that out way after the match, and this match was great. So you wouldn't know that he was injured throughout the whole thing. The whole thing lasted about 18 minutes, maybe 20, something like that.
Mm.
So like that was a long time to be going with that injury. Okada comes out, and his entrance is he's like surrounded in this like force field of beams of light, and like you want to talk about aura, there's your aura right there. Like he looked like a star. He looked like the guy.
Oh God,
Um,
yeah.
and this match was, uh, I mean, the match was predictably great.
It was
Like
so good.
with given these two guys, like I mean, there were lots of meteoras. There was, I mean, all of Okada's stuff hits. Like he doesn't really deviate too much from what he does, but his timing is so good that everything feels fresh when he does it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Buddy kicked out of a rainmaker.
yeah, Buddy
Whoa.
kicked out. He's the first person in AEW to kick out of the Rainmaker. I'm pretty sure. That's that's a special moment that he can hang on to. Like he doesn't win the match, but he did kick out of that first Rainmaker. And the
Yeah.
face Okada sells it with his face is
Yeah. Okada was like, "Oh,
like
what the fuck just happened,
what
man?"
is this? The power of Down Under. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess I mean, and he did at one point. Matthews did the inverted cloverleaf, the
Oh, dude, that thing
inverted
was
standing
awesome.
cloverleaf thing. Like, oh my gosh, if Okada were a smaller man, I bet Matthews could have swung him around too with it,
Probably.
like Rhea sometimes does.
He might have been able
Uh
to do it anyway.
yeah, I mean he's a jacked dude, but
Yeah.
like Okada, it's not that he's heavy, it's that he's long,
Yeah.
and
You
it's the leverage bit.
can see
Like
Buddy
because
was like,
Buddy is a jacked dude, but I think he's only about 5'10",
yeah,
about
something like
11
that.
maybe, and
Yeah.
Okada's a legit 6'3" or so. So, but anyway, Okada has to distract the referee and hit another low blow like he did a lot in the Continental Classic and finish it with the Rainmaker for the win. So, Aussies are Oceania actually is 0-4 going into the main event. if
Ugh.
you count, the Kiwi and Jay White. But
Yeah.
that being said, like I said, I think that they were going to be okay as long as Tony won. Tony Storm is up next to face Mariah May for the AEW World's Women's Championship in the main event. And this was a much different match than anything else on the card. It was much more old school, deliberate, um, story driven. Uh, but like she comes out and Tony just looks like this 1920s pinup goddess, and it's just like with the
Hmm.
Australian themed gear. It's like that dark blue velvet with the little Union Jack and the star on one side and the stars on the other. Like she looked like she belonged there, and of course she does. We've known that for a long time, but like it's nice to be reinforced. Um, just you were seeing Storm do a lot of more old school stuff. Like I don't think I've ever seen her lock in a cross-legged STF before. Like I don't think I've ever seen her do that. I've never. She was doing a lot. She German suplex Mariah May like 7 times.
Dude, yeah. Whew.
Like she was just whipping that poor woman around. Like it was. I didn't expect to be taking the Suplex City, and I certainly didn't expect Suplex City to be in Brisbane.
No,
But
I didn't either. So
yeah, lots of drama here. Storm hits a Mayday, which she won when she was posing as her the other last week. But she hits it on the outside, so there's not really much you can do about it. She hits one later, but only for a 2 count. She hits her with like 2 hip attacks and a Storm Zero, and still can't put her away. Then Mariah May plays like she's dead weight, but it's just playing possum, and they got plenty of different possums over in Australia too. So she was doing her homework. Uh, but she counters with a backdrop driver and then a Mayday of her own. Kicks out of the Mayday though. May rolls out of the ring after taking a second Storm Zero to avoid getting pinned, but Storm like follows her, and they have this great visual where May is on the ground and Storm is on the apron, lying down on the apron, and they're holding. She's clasping her hand, grasping at it. It's like they're still connected. That visual I thought was just a great bit of business there. She pulls her back into the ring, uh, but or yeah, but May drags her into the middle turnbuckle. She hits a Storm Zero, but and thinks about following up with a Mayday, but Storm hits the inside cradle, the small package for the win, and becomes a 4-time AEW World Women's Championship. And like that was another thing too. Like I got brought up on Blue Sky, and it's absolutely right. You know, other than the time that she posed as Mariah May, every single one of her wins since coming back has been with the small package.
yeah,
So that's essentially her finish now, and it goes with her old school gimmick, right?
yeah.
So I can only imagine that Brian Danielson is just sitting at home smiling, big old grin on his face, because he's Mr. Small Package.
That's
Uh,
true.
but yeah, great, high drama, epic, sweeping match. Like this match was great. Everything on this card was good, a really good to great. I don't think there was even just good. It was either
Hmm.
really good to great. Like it was. This match felt like we should have paid for
Yeah,
it. I
yeah,
would
for
have paid
sure.
for it. I would have definitely paid for this show.
Hmm.
So I mean, I'm over the moon that Tony is back on top. Like you know me, I'm a huge fan of Tony Storm.
Yeah,
This timeless gimmick is one of the best things I've ever seen in wrestling. One of the best characters. Uh, you got to think that they're probably gonna have the rubber match at Revolution.
probably.
I hope Tony goes over because I really don't know where they have left to go with Mariah as champion. Like, and to be honest, like as good as Mariah is, her title reign up until she started, really up until until Tony came back, was just kind of treading water.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like super impressive. She wasn't, with the exception of Thunder Rosa, she wasn't really facing the top tier of the women's division. She was, rolling around with Anna Jay, and trying to
Yeah.
make her look better than they said that she was looking. So like, um, I don't know. I feel like Tony should go over in the end,
Yeah.
but who knows what they'll do. In the meantime, I'm going to continue to celebrate my timeless Tony Storm on top once again, where she belongs.
Word. Very good.
That's all I got. So if you want to kick it back over
Yep.
to that spot we always go where we don't know what to do, so we just do what the pros do, and
Call it in the ring.
then we'll do that. All right. All right. So our call in the ring segment is going to be doing something a little bit differently than we normally do. We generally don't talk about like current stuff in wrestling because we usually get to the stuff when we're reviewing the shows anyway. But we brought this up last week, but we determined that it needed a little bit more analysis because uh, it wasn't long after WWE had their releases that AEW released 3 people too. So we're like, okay, well that's a lot of people. We should probably talk about this because there's a lot of up in the airness about it and where these people should could go, where they've been, what they were doing before they left, that kind of thing. And it's always nice to see these kinds of shakeups because you don't want anybody losing their job, but it's like, okay, what's next for them?
Yeah.
So we decided we were going to talk about all of them,
Yeah.
every single one of them. So uh, I think that we should probably talk about them in terms of, in order of what people were doing. So we'll talk about the WWE ones first because they were, first. Those
Mhm.
releases were first. Um but yeah, so let's start with Blair Davenport.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Um,
weren't doing anything with her, were they?
no, Blair wasn't really doing anything. Unfortunately, no. Yeah, she wasn't really doing anything. As for like where she's gonna go or where she'll be, I think she's a New Zealander, uh, something like that. So, but I don't know like if she's gonna go back or go to NJPW or TJPW or what she'll be doing. I mean, I didn't really get an idea of like her work rate or anything like that, because they really didn't use her that often. And when
Yeah.
they did, they didn't. I mean, she was enhancement talent basically. So unfortunate, but I mean, kind of hard to call what happens from here.
Yeah. It's funny, like I know that she was in All Elite Wrestling for a little bit in the very beginning. But I don't really remember, as B Priestley, but I don't really remember her all that much. Um um, I think that like, and I guess I'm looking at her Wikipedia page here too, and I guess that she was actually in Impact for a little
Mm.
bit, like uh, as Beatrice Priestley and the Hughes. Like I don't know.
Hmm.
Oh, it's a different Impact Pro. Oh, so it's a New Zealand. This is a Kiwi
Ah,
promotion.
okay.
Okay, never mind. So, with that in mind, maybe she goes to TNA. I don't see her going back to AEW
No, probably not right now.
because, uh, I mean, they could always use the pumping up of their division, but Osprey's there, and they used to date, and if I remember correctly, it didn't really end all that well. uh, so I would think that they may be able to keep it professional or whatever, but I don't think Tony Khan would want to take a chance, especially with the momentum that he's building, to introduce another possible dramatic backstage scenario to the mix, because things have been good in the backstage
Yeah.
scene for them for a little while now, and they don't need any more drama. So I would say that if they do sign her again, it probably won't be for a while.
No.
And it probably won't be until they can get both of them in a room and be like, "Hey, can we all be cool? Can we all be adults here?" Um, that being said, TNA, it has always taken their women's division, their knockouts division, very, very seriously. Maybe she goes to TNA.
Maybe.
I think that would be a good home for her. Like, it seems to be kind of the stopping point for, if they're not going to go to AEW, they wind up in TNA anyway, generally. So, and I mean, look what it did for Naomi.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a great place to be a wrestler who's a woman, because they will absolutely use you. They will absolutely utilize you. They will absolutely treat you seriously, like an athlete, and like, you know, an asset, as opposed to just, oh, this girl.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I think that's probably where she'll wind up, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Maybe. That'd probably be the best option right now.
Mm. All right, next is Giovanni Vinci.
Man, this
Uh,
is a weird one.
yeah,
So they had like vignettes for him, and then he came on TV and lost a couple times, and then disappeared again. Um,
yeah.
so I don't know what's going on with him. But I, I mean, he recently came back from an injury, so he's good. But I guess they just didn't have anything to do with him. They didn't want to add him back to Imperium, which they totally could have. Um, I don't know what their intentions were with him coming back and what they had really planned beyond the couple of vignettes, and they didn't really present that interesting of a character. So with him, I mean, I always kind of saw him. He's serviceable in the ring. Not really sure where he came from before WWE, but I'd
Well,
probably
like, I knew him for a while because he was in the Cruiserweight Classic tournament
ah
under his real name, Fabian Eichner.
okay,
and
okay,
I was kind of a little bit of a fan of the guy. Like, he was, he's big for a cruiser. He's 6 foot, and he's got a lot of muscle mass, but he still was under 205
yeah,
at the time. Um, I liked the guy. He was in NXT for a while, and then they dropped him, and then he came back. Um, they rehired him, I think, at some point. Um, but yeah, like, they didn't really do anything with him until they put him in Imperium. And then, if you want to believe the internet rumors, and I don't know if these are true, but the rumor that I keep seeing is that um he had a big falling out with Gunther
hmm.
over possibly hitting on his woman, and that's why he got kicked out of Imperium, and that's why he continued to be buried
Oh
on WWE television, which would suggest that Gunther has a lot of backstage sway, and I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't know that it's not true, but I don't know if it's true either. So I'm
yeah,
not going to speculate on that. What I will say is that I'm sad to see him get released, because, like, oh, you were in a good spot with Imperium, 2-time NXT Tag Champs and stuff. Like,
yeah,
it's a bummer. I could see him showing up in TNA. I don't know if AEW might be a landing spot for him if TK saw something in him.
yeah,
That's the thing. It's like these lower card guys that get released and then signed really are only signed if Tony himself really likes their work. Like, that's the reason that Tony. That's got to be the reason that Tony Nese has a job right now,
yeah,
or Arya Davari.
yeah,
Like, because they don't, you know, as much as I like Tony Nese and like Arya Davari, they're always going to be lower card guys on that
Yeah.
roster.
Yeah, on
You
that
know,
roster, yeah.
so like I could if he comes into AEW, I don't see them pushing him. I see him being more on that level as more like lower card, maybe straight up enhancement talent. But um, I don't know. You never really know. I think TNA could be a possible landing spot for him. If he lands there, that roster is smaller and less competitive,
Mhm.
so he might have a better chance of success there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's ever been to Japan either. Could work over in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be a really good investment for him because if you can survive those dojos, you can survive any wrestling environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if he gets a job there, I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in WWE within 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. It's possible. I mean, if he does well
Never know.
if he does well in NJPW, he could end up in AEW. I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of
it's
wide
true.
open for him, really.
Yeah, like I mean, maybe not the spot on the card is wide open, but for him to get work, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. He's a good hand.
Yeah.
Next, the Good Brothers. I mean, we all know Luke
Oh,
Gallows. We all know Carl Anderson. We all know
yeah.
how they're connected to literally everybody and everywhere. The second coming of the Click is the Bullet Club, basically.
Yeah.
So, um, honestly, probably Japan, probably New Japan. Yeah, I mean they were in NXT doing things, right?
I haven't seen him in a while, so I'm not sure where they were. But I mean, with their gruff demeanor and being a good tag team as they are, they would fit well as a foil to either the Hurt Syndicate or backing up Jay White being Bullet Club members. Um, but they kind of always bounce back to New Japan after they finish a contract here in America. So, I mean, my call would kind of be New Japan just because that's
Yeah,
like it's what they do. They're done with WWE or they're done with TNA or wherever they're over here in the United States. They're done with that. They bounce back to New Japan, like they have an open door
yeah.
policy with
I
them
don't
there or
necessarily
something.
see them. I don't see them going to TNA now that they have that relationship with WWE.
Yeah,
It's like uh, it's difficult because like some people I can see, like
yeah,
with the people who they weren't using anyway. But like if WWE releases somebody, it's difficult for me to think that TNA would snatch them up if they had a name
hmm,
because it's like, well, WWE doesn't want to use these guys. Maybe they don't want us to use these guys. You
yeah,
know, given the very, very obviously one-sided nature of that relationship. So, um, I think New Japan is probably their destination. I don't see AEW calling them again. Like their only benefit in AEW was to hype the concept of the Forbidden Door
yeah,
because they were in Impact in the time. They were in Impact at the time.
hmm,
They were helping uh, Kenny and the Young Bucks as the Elite. Which is just an offshoot of the Bullet Club anyway. So I think that with the Young Bucks currently out for the foreseeable future, and with Kenny being a good guy, and even Bullet Club Gold really being baby faces right now, unless you turn somebody specifically to facilitate them, I don't think that they're valuable enough to that current roster that unless you had a really good creative idea of what to do with them, I don't think AEW is gonna jump at the chance to sign them. I think they go to New Japan and they probably finish out their careers there, honestly.
yeah, probably at this point. That'd be my guess.
All right. Next up, the authors of pain, Akam and Razar, including Paul Ellering.
Okay, Paul Ellering, don't know. Okay, my bets are ROH with his daughter or retirement. That's my bets for Paul Ellering. Akam and
Yeah.
Razor, however, I mean, as much as WWE wanted to welcome back with open arms, the greater wrestling world does not because of that shenanigans they pulled with the show in England or wherever it was.
I don't remember hearing about
Okay,
that.
okay.
What was that
So
about?
there was like some show, World Wrestling Council or something like that, that was going to
What,
take
in Puerto
place.
Rico?
No, it was something else. It was there, but it was whatever it was called. I can't remember. It was Akam and Razor's company. I'm going to use that term loosely.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
They set up a show in England, like London or New South Wales or Wales or something like that. I can't remember where exactly they put the show, but they set it up and they were like advertising like some like high end TNA names and some high end AEW names, kind of like an indie Forbidden Door type thing. They had, I believe, sold and collected ticket money from people, but then kept like delaying the show and all this other stuff. And then eventually, I don't know what got settled or what happened, but it did. The show did not happen.
Mm.
Um, Amongst the wrestlers, as far as I know, there was a lot of confusion about travel and like the arrangements and monies that they were promised and deposits that were never paid and things like that. So I don't really see these guys landing anywhere, to be perfectly honest with you.
Huh. I mean, maybe that makes Japan their most likely spot.
If they're lucky. Tanahashi doesn't put up with that kind of crap, and I don't know if he would take the hit to his reputation, as important as it is to
Sure.
Japanese people, to employ these guys
Maybe
after
then
what they've
Europe.
done. Maybe Europe,
Maybe Europe then.
yeah, but I
Bet
mean, probably
WXW
not
would take him.
England. Probably not England.
Yeah.
You know, it might have been
But
WXW that was involved with this and kind of got screwed in the process because I think it was just everybody like they collected money and people got boned basically. I mean, is what it seems like how
that's
it turned out.
unfortunate.
So yeah, I don't really
Not a
see them
fan of
landing
that.
anywhere, to be honest with you. If they land anywhere, cool. If not, I mean, I don't think it's really hurting anything. To be honest with you, they've had like a decade on the WWE roster to prove that they're, that they have some kind of
You there? Can't hear you.
personality.
I think you got
Yeah.
cut off.
Um. So one sec. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. It was my internet connection, but I've still got my recording, so I'll just edit this part.
Okay.
Um, but anyway, I was talking the whole time, so I covered some stuff. But um,
Okay.
anyway, they've had like a decade, like I said, a decade to kind of prove that they have some kind of personality or something, and they really haven't shown any of that.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they were mostly used as like heavy hitters for other people
Yeah,
between Karrion Cross and Seth Rollins and stuff. Like it just I know one of them is Canadian, so he could speak. Like he probably could cut a promo if he wanted to. I think the other one is Dutch.
hmm.
So I don't know how good his English is or not. I mean, let me tell you, those Europeans, a lot of them speak better English than we do.
Yeah, most of them
So
do.
I bet he could cut a promo if he was asked to, but they were never asked to. That's why they were paired with Paul Ellering in the first place.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm
and
with you. I hope he shows up in ROH and either in ROH alongside his daughter because I'm a big fan of the Queen of Strong Smile herself, Rachel Ellering. Could talk about two completely different personalities too
yeah, yeah,
between her and her father. Like they could have a very interesting dynamic on screen if he like tries to influence her a heel way, and she just doesn't want to because
yeah,
like oh dad, like
right.
something like that. I don't know. Or even backstage as a producer, like that dude has been around this business for ages and ages.
Yeah,
I bet he has a really, really, really good mind for the
I
business.
bet he
I
does.
think you could probably mine a lot of potential out of that guy backstage.
Yeah, probably. And he would be a good asset to anybody, really. So
For sure, for sure. Smart guy, eloquent, he knows the business. So okay, next up, Isla Dawn.
whew.
Uh
Former WWE Women's Tag Team Champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, could end up in a lot of different places. I'm not sure where she'll end up, but I mean, TNA is a possibility. AEW is a possibility. If AEW is trying to build a women's tag division kind of under our noses, um, she would be a good addition to it.
Yeah.
She could be Jamie Hayter's tag partner. Um,
See, like this is where I don't have a lot of experience with her. I don't really know her stuff. So like I'm kind of trying to come up with a way to place her somewhere, but I don't really know what she does. Like I
um,
don't know.
she's good at tag team wrestling. That's all I really know about her, though. When I started watching again for the podcast, she was in the tag team title picture. They won the titles at one point, and then they lost them back to Jade and Bianca. Um, and haven't really seen them much since then, to be perfectly
Didn't they win
honest.
those belts at WrestleMania?
Maybe or at Clash
I
or
feel like
something like
they
that. No, they won them
oh,
in
it's Clash of
England. So yeah, it was Clash at the Castle.
right.
Yeah, I think they might have lost them back at WrestleMania though. Either way,
They lost them
they.
back at Bash in Berlin.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they didn't have them for very long then.
Yeah, I've got the
Oh.
page up now. Yeah, I mean she's got a good look. You know, she's Scottish. You know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe she goes back to the UK
Yeah,
and does stuff with Progress or
Rev Pro maybe.
oh Rev Pro. That's the
Yeah,
other one I was thinking
if
of.
she gets with Rev Pro,
Um,
she could face Mercedes, and that could be a ticket to AEW.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, because
Or depending on if I mean, she may have moved here.
yeah,
I mean, if she moved to the United States, then maybe she'll stay stateside, and you know what, maybe she'll show up in New Japan Strong.
maybe there's a
You
lot of
know,
different places she could show up. It's pretty
they're
wide open
still
for
kind
her.
of in a building phase for their women's division, so they would probably be open to giving her a shot.
Yeah, yeah. She's got a good look
She
and
wants to
stuff,
stay.
so I
Yeah,
think maybe she'll have a shot somewhere.
yeah. It's I want to stress that I don't really know her stuff. Again, that I don't know her stuff, so I don't really know where she would be the best fit. This is my throwing it into the wind here. So
Yeah.
don't take my opinion on this particular one too seriously, guys. Next we got Sonya Deville. Uh,
Well,
I love Sonya. I love Sonya. I think she's great, and I was really sad to see that they weren't going to renew her contract.
yeah. So this one's not really a release as much as they're just not renewing her contract. I think she still has like another week left on it, so we could at some point on TV see a proper breakup of PFC. Maybe she gets written off TV somehow. But really, they haven't been doing much with those ladies, so maybe not. I mean, she could just disappear from TV. And in the last couple of weeks, since it was announced that they weren't going to renew her, she kind of hasn't been on TV. So
The other thing too is that since this is the only one of those that is a non-renewal as opposed to a straight up release, she can work wherever she wants the day after that contract
yeah,
expires. She won't have the 90-day or 60-day or whatever it is non-compete clause. So she could find work immediately, like somebody else we're going to talk about in just a minute.
hmm
Um, honestly, like I feel like AEW would be a really good fit for her.
I do too. Actually, she's a legitimate
I
threat.
Yep.
I mean,
I feel like you could get some really good MMA style matches out of her and Marina
hmm
specifically. I think those matches would be great. I
if
think you
she
could
showed
do
up to beat up Marina, she'd be an instant overface.
absolutely 100%. Um, I think that I mean she can talk too. Like
Yeah.
she's one of the like I hate to say it like this because it sounds sexist when I say it and it sounds misogynistic when I say it. It's not because women can't talk. It's that generally they're not given the opportunities to show that they can speak like the men are.
hmm
But because of her role as Raw General Manager for a while, we know that she has the chops,
Yeah.
as opposed to a lot of other women who may have untapped potential that we just don't know about. but
Yeah.
we know for a fact that she can talk too. So that opens up, if she wants to wrestle, great, awesome. She's good in the ring, believable. She was always in WWE going to get overshadowed by Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler because she was hired before those two, she was hired. I think large. I mean, she was on Tough Enough, but I think what set her apart was her MMA background.
Hmm.
She was legitimately tough. She fought in real fights for money. It was a thing. It showed that she was different than the other competitors.
Yeah.
But then they hired Ronda, who was a bronze judo medalist at the Olympics and a dominant UFC champion that they built their entire brand around for a little while. Then they brought in Shayna Baszler, who was not as good a mixed martial artist as Ronda was, but was a better professional wrestler than she was.
Yeah.
And it's just she fell. What made her special was no longer there. With Marina, there is a connection there. She's one of Ronda's running buddies too. She was one of the four horsewomen in MMA, but you know she hasn't been positioned in such a dominant position as it would as Ronda and Shayna were in their respective roles to shadow out Sonya should she debut. So they would be on more of an even footing. So that aspect of her game could still make her valuable to that division. Where there are women in the AEW women's division with martial arts training. Thunder Rosa has a couple of fights under her belt as well, but it doesn't really come off in their work. It's not like a huge part of their presentation. If Sonya were to debut, presumably under her real name of Daria Baronato, and make the MMA thing kind of the sole focus of her character, she could really stand out in that division.
Yeah. She
Where
really
it,
could.
it kind of got caught in the shuffle in WWE. So I
Yeah.
think that AEW would be a really, really good fit for her.
Yeah. Especially, yeah, like I said before, she shows up to beat up Marina Shafir. That'd be it right there. She's over.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hell yeah, welcome to AEW. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah.
And she was trained by Billy Gunn,
Yeah. So
among
that's an
other
in
people.
right there. Billy probably be like, hey,
Other
you should
people,
hire
yeah.
her, really, you know, and
Yeah, she was trained by Brian Kendrick, Booker T, Billy Gunn, and Lita.
yeah.
So, I mean, what a gamut,
Yeah.
right?
And Billy Gunn has already brought his kids to Tony Khan who have turned out to be good business for him. So, you
Yeah.
know, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would urge her to use that connection.
Yeah, I would too, actually.
Because Billy Gunn is clearly somebody who TK is willing to listen to.
Yeah.
So, all right. Last one for WWE, the biggest one probably, all things considered, is Cedric Alexander. Now, we
Yeah.
touched a little bit on this last week, but
Yeah.
this is kind of a big deal because of there is the most intrigue surrounding where he will end up next because of things that aren't really in his control.
Right.
um I don't know. This one's a tough one to place for that reason though. We went over it last week. You know, Big Swole, he's married to Big Swole, who
Mm-hmm.
had a big falling out with TK. It was very public. It was embarrassing on all ends. But Swole has not backed down. Notably, she's not backed down from anything that she said.
Yeah.
So you have to assume that she still feels the same way that she did when she got released in 2021.
Yeah.
So that was 4 years ago. Things change. People change. They grow. I don't know. I would. I don't know. There is, it's what he wanting to do good by his wife versus the legitimate money making potential and creative potential of reuniting the entire Hurt business / syndicate.
Yeah.
That's the question. And I don't know where they're gonna go with it. Where he's gonna go with it.
I
I
can't
don't really
call this
see
one.
it.
That's a dichotomy. I don't know if I would be able to sit at and like I know my wife. My wife would be like, well, actually, it depends. Like if they pissed her off enough, she'd be like, "Don't you dare go work for them." But if like if they hadn't pissed her off, I mean, if they pissed her off, but like it's been 4 years and they're offering me, $500,000 or something like that, she might be
Yeah.
like, okay, okay. But in this particular, I mean, the only thing I can say is it's been 4 years. Like
Yeah.
maybe, but is she the type to really hold a grudge? We don't know, and I mean, dude or woman, it doesn't matter. Like some people really hold a grudge. I am one of those petty bastards, in case y'all don't know. I do hold a grudge. I remember names of people who offended me years ago in E-Feds, and I still hate their guts. So,
Here's to you, Baron.
yeah, eat a dick.
I think that, I mean, he has other options too. Let's not make it out to be like AEW is his only
Oh
option.
no, he
He
could go
could go to
literally anywhere.
he could go to TNA. He could go. I don't really see him in Japan, but he
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 could
could
go
go to
there.
New Japan.
Yeah, he could compete
He
in the
could
Super Juniors.
honestly, he'd probably be a better fit in 01
Yeah,
or Noah with their emphasis on super heavyweights right now. Like the New Japan is still seriously rebuilding their junior division right
yeah,
now. They're really really like it's. I wouldn't say it's dire, but it's far from the glory days. That's for sure.
yeah.
Um, maybe he could take advantage of that,
Hmm.
or maybe he could see it as like, nah, not worth my time. I'd be
Yeah,
hopping the Pacific Ocean to do this. I don't
yeah,
know. Or he could just work the Indies. I don't know. I mean, the Indies have been blowing up for a while. Like, there's plenty of options. I mean, most of them are, carnies are gonna carny,
yeah,
but I mean, he's got a name now. He's a former cruiserweight champion. He's a former tag team champion alongside Shelton Benjamin. Like he's got uh credentials to fall back on and a name to fall back on.
yeah,
So I don't know. I feel like AEW is a toss up, and I feel like until we figure that the answer to that question, whether it's a hard no or a possible yes, doesn't even need to be a hard yes. It just needs to be, oh, this is a possibility. Then we won't really know for sure, and I couldn't make an accurate prediction.
yeah. Pretty much.
But of the ones that we've discussed so far, I find him the far and away the most interesting case.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because there's just that intrigue. Like we don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, switching gears from
Hmm.
both WWE and for stuff that we don't know about, let's start with the AEW one that we do already know about. Ricky Starks got let go and immediately showed up in NXT
Yeah, immediately.
the day after. So you have to assume that TK just let his contract expire.
Yeah, something like that.
Straight up.
And the contract was probably already waiting on the table at WWE via Cody. So, I mean,
Yeah.
the writing was on
Those
the
two are
wall.
quick
It's
friends
been on
by
the
now.
wall. It's been on the wall for a while.
Yeah.
Like we knew this was going to happen. We didn't know where he was going to land exactly, but we knew this was going to happen. So here we are. And I have a feeling that
Yeah.
he's going to do just like Ethan Page and make a huge impact in NXT and raise the product up a little bit, even though it doesn't need much raising. It's already pretty good. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
I I can't see them rushing him to the title when Obafemi is the guy who has it right now.
yeah, they probably won't rush him to the title, but they could rush him to the North American title.
They probably could.
Tony D's got it
Yeah.
right now. He could play. He could probably do some really good back and forth with the Gabagools. So
There's some similarities there.
yeah. There's that. Yeah, he could be like, yeah, like I'm just like you guys. I'm from the same place as you guys. Only I didn't turn out to be a schmuck. Yeah.
Except Ricky Starks kind of is a schmuck. So
so
I mean, it was pretty obvious. Like towards the end there by his behavior or lack thereof. It's like, you're a problem backstage, aren't you?
Is he
You
though?
kind of are, aren't you?
Is he
Mm,
though? I mean, we'll see.
I
I
don't
mean, well, if
know.
he's a problem backstage in WWE, they'll fire him. So, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, no, he wants to be there,
Well, I
so
mean,
he'll play ball there most likely, at least for a while.
he could, yeah, but I mean,
That's the thing though, is
he
like
kind
his
of
ceiling
belongs
in.
there more, I think. So,
Yeah, I think this style absolutely fits their mold a little bit better.
yeah,
I don't think the ceiling is any higher for him though.
yeah,
I think it's about the same.
it might be a little higher, but
Like if he had debuted in AEW at the beginning, before and been there for an extra year before before the Bryan Danielsons and the Adam Coles and the CM Punks came around, I think that he would have been higher up on the card by the time he left,
yeah,
simply because he had put in the time and he would have been comparatively seen as being of a higher priority and a higher talent talent status.
yeah,
But I mean, when you add in those guys who are going to go down as all those guys are going to go down as Hall of Famers,
yeah,
one way or another. I know people are kind of down on Adam Cole, but he's a Hall of Famer. He is.
yeah,
I mean, he's gonna be, like, even if he hasn't earned it, quote unquote. In the next 5 years, he'll do enough that he'll have earned a ring.
yeah.
Or at least in the eyes of many, if not an actual one. But Ricky Starks, I don't know. I don't know if you can. I don't think you can say that right now. Like, does he move the needle? I don't know. I like Ricky Starks. I like his work, but like, I don't know if he's done enough to be put in the same category as those guys. Lord knows they tried.
Yeah,
Punk. I mean, he was all but Punk's pet project on Collision,
yeah,
and then he had that absolutely perfect strap match with Danielson, which was a replacement.
yeah,
I mean, just goes to show how good Danielson was. But let's not take anything away from Ricky. It takes two to tango.
yeah,
And Bryan Danielson only had one arm in that match,
yeah,
and it was still that good. You can't totally take away credit from Ricky for his part in that. He was in it too. So like the dude has potential. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know. He seems like one of those guys who just might be one of his own worst. He's his own worst enemy kind of deal.
maybe
I
he
don't know.
is.
People changed.
We'll see.
That's just a perception. I don't know the guy. I don't know the guy. So maybe I'm completely 100% off base and my instincts are off. But those are my instincts, and until proven otherwise, that's all I got to go on. So.
Right.
But anyway,
Yeah.
he's out of the way because we already know where he wound up. What about Miro?
Back in WWE.
Yeah, probably. But like, I don't know, because they didn't really value him without Lana, and they're divorced now, or separated.
Maybe they bring back Aiden English.
I think that would be a great idea. And with them essentially being, blackmailing TNA into taking all their talent, they could get him back.
Yeah. Yeah, bring back Aiden English, bring back a Rusev Day. It was over. Let's see if we can get it back.
It was.
Yeah.
Like, maybe Triple H will be smarter than Vince McMahon was about Rusev Day.
Maybe.
Like,
I mean, it was selling merch. It was over. It's a way to make money.
My question is that what Rusev, at that point, they'd move him back to that name for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what he would want to do? Because that's certainly, when he had a little bit more creative freedom with his character, certainly wasn't what he was doing in AEW.
Yeah.
And he's been off TV probably because he didn't like any of the creative pitches for him. So is he going to go and do something where he knows he has literally zero say? He's going to be on the road for far more often than he likes to be on the road. And he doesn't even have the hot woman beside him to make up for the slack and cut promos for him.
I mean,
Because they're not going to let him be the redeemer. So like, I mean, that was his best work on the mic was him talking about fighting his own god.
yeah,
Like it was cool. I liked it a lot. I was really kind of bummed out when they decided that we're not going to show Miro on TV anymore. And then he came back for like one or two matches and then he disappeared for another year.
yeah,
Like, come on, man. I want my Meat Madness match.
yeah.
But
With him, I mean, I think really with him, it's going to depend on a dollar amount.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So.
I mean, you don't hold out for a year if you're not financially secure enough to do so
Yeah.
and you're okay with that, you know.
Yeah.
So it would have to be a tremendous, tremendous sales pitch on WWE's part to bring him back, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see where he
I
lands. I'm
mean,
sure it'll be somewhere.
he's the only one on this list that I could see retiring altogether right now off the heels of this.
Yeah, he probably could.
Because because it seems like he's financially set, at least for his own peace of mind. And I mean, he doesn't even do like he wasn't even doing like signings or anything like that. He wasn't doing indie days, which I'm sure he would have been allowed to do,
Yeah.
given the normal AEW contract. Like, he chose to pretty much distance himself from wrestling until he had something he could sink his teeth into, so that he had control over.
Yeah.
So, unless he's going to get all of his terms, I could see him just straight up not coming back to wrestling.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, I don't know
All
where
right.
he'll land, but probably WWE if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think that's if he doesn't just leave wrestling altogether, I would say probably WWE. But because he didn't take even when he was in AEW, he didn't take the chance to spread his wings and walk through the forbidden door
Yeah.
at all. And take dates with New Japan or Impact or wherever. So my guess is that he's probably an all or nothing kind of guy. And if he can't work for the biggest company, as long as they give him a good sales pitch, if he can't work for the biggest company, he's probably not going to choose to.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Malachi Black.
Back to WWE.
Absolutely. Easiest one on this list. Easiest one on this list for sure.
Yeah.
Except for Ricky Starks, who we already know about.
Yeah.
But yeah. He goes back. He's Aleister Black. Goes back to being all spooky coffin guy, with an awesome entrance. He gets to be on the road with his wife.
Yeah.
Like it's an appealing. I imagine it's an appealing thing for him. The only thing, I mean, the scuttlebutt and these again are just internet rumors, so I don't know the veracity of these statements at all. But the feeling is that the reason that he was so inconsistently on TV was that he was picky and choosy over who he wanted to put over
Hmm.
and who he wanted to lose to.
I mean, I would
Um,
be too if I was that over at any point. I mean, he was pretty over for a while there.
yeah, but I think it hurt him in the end though.
I mean, yeah,
Like,
nobody if he didn't get to work. Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know. Like, I feel I think if that is the pervasive thought process among the AEW fans, it's not going to affect the WWE fan base. I think they'll just be happy to have him back
Yeah.
because it's been pretty clear that while there is a little bit of crossover, the majority of the WWE fan base doesn't know anything about AEW and what goes on there, except in random conversation that they might overhear or see online or whatever. Because it's very clear that the people who criticize AEW the most don't actually watch
Yeah.
AEW.
Yeah, they don't.
So they don't. They're just being tribal nerds. So I think that he'll be welcomed back with open arms and an open casket.
Yeah, probably. He's a Triple H guy, so I think they'll bring him right back.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope that I just hope that they push him, because if they don't, maybe he'll become a problem again. But maybe he won't, because he's right by the side of his wife. Maybe he'll see it as a trade off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably
You
a
know,
pretty good trade off.
getting to travel with your wife instead of not getting to see her for extended periods of time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that being a worthwhile trade off.
Yeah, I could too, actually. Like, yeah, I'll take a lower on the card spot because I'm still over. I'm still gonna sell merch, and I get to be on
Yeah.
the road with my wife all the time. Yeah, deal done. What do you want? You know, like,
Yep.
yeah, I think that's
I
pretty
mean,
much
he
a
could go
no-brainer.
back and resume that feud with Shinsuke Nakamura that they were building up to, that never really materialized.
Oh yeah, now Aleister Black versus the Black Samurai. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. Guys who both kick your faces off,
Oh
sure,
yeah,
give it to me.
let them kick the shit out
I'm
of each
okay
other
with
for an
that.
hour.
All right. Well, that covers that list. So
Yes, it does.
I guess that brings us to the end here.
Yep. That was all for the week. And for all of you joining us as usual, thank you for joining us. Keep your head up out there. We love you and take care of yourself.
One more thing, though.
Uh-huh.
One more thing. Usually we don't do this, but I want to make sure that we hype next week's episode, because it's going to be a very special episode.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It's going to be our very first episode where we have a guest on. My friend George Gatton, former independent wrestler, is going to be joining us for the whole episode. He's going to be weighing in. We're going to our Call in the Ring segment is going to be an interview with him. We'll get his insights on the independent scene. Maybe tell some stories. I know he has some great stories. You have no idea. We can talk about his one and only championship run on the scene. We can talk about him wrestling right before the pandemic hit. Lots to talk about. I would love for you all to definitely tune in next week, because it's going to be a very, very, very special episode. I'm very excited for it, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I am too. I can't wait for this one. Breaking new ground here at the podcast as always. So
yeah,
this is going to be an interesting one. So yeah, tune in for that one, folks. Tell your friends, and we will see you next week.
Next week, guys. Next week. Peace.